we could do it right now. You could put on SEAL Team.
Right.
We could watch every episode,
Right.
and I can point to every single gun in the entire show, and I can tell you why that gun was chosen. There's not a gun you can point to on that show that I can't tell you why it was chosen. Because Mike and I had a conversation about every single gun.
Okay.
And we had a reason why that gun was chosen for that character.
Okay.
Every single gun.
All right, guys, we've got Jason here with us, as always.
What's going on, guys?
Las Vegas 2025
Shot Show.
And obviously, we've got special guests here with us. We've got Tyler Gray and AJ Buckley.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Super excited.
Obviously, your channel, Two Fake Seals, but
Yes.
I mean, that's awesome. You
Why?
Yeah, we're just
Why 2 fake seals?
because we thought it was funny. Really, you
Well,
know?
the Genesis before, like we were sitting there. I was actually back in South Carolina, and when the China balloon was above our house, and my neighbors kept calling me, and they're like, "AJ, what do we do?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "The balloon, the spy balloon. What's the plan of action?" I'm like, I don't know, bro. I'm a fucking actor. I'm not a real SEAL guy.
It's not that dude.
And they're like, yeah, but I know, but like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, dude, I would be having a latte in my trailer, my stunt double. Would be, I don't fucking know, man. They still don't get it. Anything goes on, they're like, okay, what's happening?
How do we prepare?
So I'm like, all right. So sometimes I'll just so they stop. I'm like, oh, we gotta go out there and you gotta.
Identify the target.
Yeah. I'll look at some tick. We're troops in contact, and they'll be like, "Oh, thanks, man." So, and then I was telling Tyler, I'm like, "This could be. I feel like we could have a show here where post SEAL team, there's AJ who people will assume that he plays his door kicker, he's Texan." And when people find out I'm not from Texas, they're like, "What?"
Shocker.
Their brains melt. They're
Right.
like, "You're not really Texan?" I'm like, "No, I'm from Dublin, Ireland."
It's called acting.
Yeah, and then I was like, what if we had it where like me, AJ, wants to learn actually how to fucking survive? So I have 3 kids, and if they say, "Dad, how would I do that?" I'm not embarrassed and
Right.
don't know how to do it, and it's like real world stuff.
Right.
But take it in a way where it's not doom and gloom. It make it really fucking fun. Everything from where we inseminated a cow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I went this deep into a cow.
A male.
Male cow.
arms length.
Yeah, we've no bull. we don't have a cow.
Was it the shoulder? Or
I got this all the way up
All the
into
way
the
up.
cow. You have to find a turkey neck, and then you get the thing and just so you let it inside the vagina. Well, you put your hand in the butt. You find the turkey neck inside the butt, and then you put the cold thing that you have to keep in your ball sack. Take it out because it was cold, and then you put it in the cow vagina, which is not attractive. And you put it in, and then you just gadoosh because you have to squeeze it, and
that does what?
circle of life.
And
the cow's born.
inseminate the cow.
But no joke, I'm hungover, and the cow's butt is kind of like like deep pressure, some air and fecal matter like on me, and, and then I start vomiting. I'm like, but I can't. Then the cow tightens its butt.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm like, and I can't. He's like, yeah, find the turkey. I'm like, well, I'll show you guys after the video. I'm just like,
The video's funny. Yeah.
So, but everything from that to then just, finding a way to take away the doom and gloom of survival, of living off grid, make it fun, enjoyable. If they're laughing, they're listening.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
learning. It's really, and again, there's not. I don't personally think there's a term for what we're really trying to do. It's because it's not survivalist. It's not prepping. It's not blah blah. It's really. I think the focus is more on self-reliance and preparedness. And for me, I mean, look, I'll take the actual survivalist label, from when I was a kid in the 80s. I mean, I was that kid,
Right.
It was like, Guns and Ammo subscription when I was like 7 years old. I mean, I've always been, I'm a gun fanatic.
Okay.
And I can talk guns for all day long. And, so it's one of those things where, but everything changed. COVID changed everything in that suddenly the impossible was possible.
Right.
And you had an actual emergency that affected, as we all obviously know,
Right.
the whole world. And people went, oh, wait, it can actually happen.
Right.
All the people, that'll never happen, never happen.
Well, look at the LA fires.
Dude, look at the stuff that is let's just say 10 years. Look at this. Oh, hey, by the way, Russia is going to invade Ukraine Hamas is going to do, you know what I mean? And then Israel, like, if you said the stuff that has happened in the last 10 years ago, people would be like,
Yeah.
You're crazy.
dude, you're crazy. You're a crazy person. And yet we now know that is actually
Dude, we watch
reality.
movies, right? Like, we saw it during COVID. Just stupid toilet paper crap, right?
Yeah.
Which had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Somebody
Had to
just-
do with control.
Yeah.
To
Somebody just
feel
went and
that they
bought-
had control.
Yeah, 2 of them or
Yep.
2.
I bought a bidet. I went ordered 2 bidets off Amazon. I said, "Fuck it." I went straight to that. I mean,
This guy's playing chess.
I
right
got
here.
like, true story, not to cut you off. So I got 2 ones. One was like $3.99 for a bidet, and I was like, that's a little expensive. I'm like, you know what? They have a 30-day return policy. I'll get that one, and I'll get the $9.99.
The one that massages it?
No, the $3.99 that had like it has a fucking dryer in there. It's fucking.
Are you serious?
Oh, bro, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
Oh man, I
A
love.
dryer?
Oh yeah, like bro, you hit settings, it goes.
Bro, it's like one of those Japanese ones. Where you got
Dude,
48 buttons.
My-
Is this your undercarriage? It goes.
Oh, wow.
Jack's house.
Holy crap, I didn't know that, honestly.
Yeah. So we set up the first one. So I go on there and I'm like, all right, it's cool. I fucking hit the thing to do it, and there's this cheap one doesn't have a pressure valve.
Oh.
Bro, I basically shot water out my mouth. It was so painful.
Cleanest asshole in the state.
I was like this, and then this one had like a button, and you did it. It was like do 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 do. It was like hey, it literally plays like cheesy like Chinese music, and it was like doo, doo, boo, 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 and you hear it's like it's a car wash. It's unbelievable. I still have it. It's the greatest.
It's an
investment of all
undercarriage wash.
time. Yeah, it's awesome. It's totally worth it. They should be a sponsor of your show.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is funny. So, that threw me off. So you saw people grab toilet paper.
Yeah.
People are so, how do I say this? They'll buy anything you sell them.
Yeah.
Right? Suddenly, around the country, we don't have toilet papers.
Yeah.
Why on earth people just went and bought toilet papers? But it doesn't matter. Everybody went. Nobody cared about the next guy or gal. They just went and self.
There was fights.
It looked like Black Friday
Yes.
fights out there.
Yeah.
And that was during and COVID, although it was horrible, all those stupid Band-Aids and all that stuff. But did you see how vicious people became?
Oh, horrible.
And
Well,
this was-
that's the irony. I say this to people all the time. That's people's true nature.
Right.
It is currently held in place artificially by infrastructure.
100%.
And once that infrastructure goes away, the law of the wild is the rule and the law of the land.
Right.
And you see people's fundamental nature, true human nature.
Right.
You guys call it like the tipping point, right?
Yeah, that's one of the terms. But the interesting thing, talking about like veterans and everything, the thing that I try and explain to people about kind of, combat veterans specifically is, when you go overseas and you see a war zone and you can, by the way, experience this not in a war zone in certain third world countries, but you see real reality.
Yes.
This is the way the world is.
Yes.
Everything else is held in place artificially
controlled,
by essentially services are holding together this artificial reality that's not actually real.
Yep.
And so it's like, when you go to a combat zone and you see that environment and you come back, you have seen, and I'll use you've seen that the world is round, and everyone else who hasn't been in that environment is telling you it's flat. And you're like, no. Like, trust me, it's round. You haven't seen what I've seen. Right. And there's this loneliness, for lack of a better term, that comes with your awareness of that real, raw reality that other people are not aware of. And to me, that's kind of what the preparedness space is. It's like
People are so comfortable.
We have to be prepared for the real world, not this artificial incubator of comfort that we have artificially created.
You were telling me stories too, like when you were doing security for these high net worth guys that they would spend $10,000-$20,000 on their survival bag.
I've seen $10,000 go bags from.
And Ty would be like, "Have you ever opened it up?" And they're like, "No." Do you know
I got it in my closet. I'm good. And I'm like, no.
Well,
like,
that bag is for me.
They got it. They got it, but they never.
Yeah.
But truly, when
I'm
he
like,
told me
I got
that-
a gun. That's my bag. But
But when he said that, I was like, I'm one of those guys. I bought a bunch of stuff. I looked through it, but in a panic situation, I'm not going to be like, okay, we got to do this, and this.
People buy a fire starter. And they have no idea how to use it. They literally have never started a fire with
Reading
a
the
flint.
instructions.
No,
Okay,
it's literally
flint.
a fire stick. You're like, well, I got a fire stick. I'm like, have you ever started a fire with it? No.
Right.
And the irony is that It's just, I was talking about insurance today. It's like the irony of it is the worst possible time to break out something for an emergency is when it's an emergency.
That's right.
You gotta know how to use that in a controlled, easy environment and get comfortable using those, the items in a go bag or a survival bag.
Right.
And the fact that those people just buy it, it's like buying toilet paper. It sits in a closet and it makes them feel like they have some level of control.
Even during COVID, you had all these people in Los Angeles who were first against guns, but then when COVID came, they're all buying guns. That was like the worst idea possible for these people that are shotguns and all of a sudden have guns and they feel
don't know how to use it.
They don't have to use it and they feel for some reason safer. That is like the gun should be the last thing that you should try and.
It's a liability if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I would say 99% of the people were like, but they're going to pay again, and they were getting it. The ranges weren't open. You couldn't go
do
practice.
anything.
You just had it, and you're like,
Yeah.
Great point, dude.
I was just about to ask about that because during COVID, you guys were in the middle of like season 4 or 5.
COVID was the end of season 3. It was the last 2 episodes of season 3.
We actually didn't film the last.
We didn't film the last 2 episodes.
It was on the mountain. Remember, we were on the mountain.
Yes.
Yeah, we're at Big Bear.
And we had the ending of season 3.
David fell off.
Correct.
Yes.
Do you know that? Well, the show's over. Mandy was supposed to die at the end of season 3.
What?
Yeah, it was like a throwback to the girl from the Bin Laden where she gets through the thing and the bomb goes off.
yeah.
She was supposed to die. So was I think Judd was supposed to die.
No, not Judd.
Judd's the best. He's the man.
It might have been. I don't
Not
know.
Blackburn.
Blackburn. Have you ever interviewed Blackburn?
So I haven't, but he follows me on IG
Dude,
and we've talked a
He
couple
is,
of times.
Can I just tell you this? One of the greatest human beings. He is the funniest. You want to go down a rabbit hole of anything?
Oh yeah.
He will take you. I don't want to speak
Yeah.
for him. I'll let him have that floor.
Okay.
But he is full of. I'll tell you this. He loves WWE.
Yeah, we saw
Okay.
that. I saw
Do
the
you
clip
not-
the other day.
Do not tell him it's fake though.
No. So he took me.
Oh,
he took me
it's
to.
fake?
No. It's not.
You guys will get along well.
So he took me to the. It was very serious. My birthday. He's like, I got your tickets, buddy. I'm like, where are we going? He goes, we're going to WWE. I was like, all right. My wife's like, where are you going? I'm like, Uncle Juddy. He's taking me to WWE. He's like, okay, I got to tell you backstory.
Okay.
Who the people is and he's giving me the whole. He knows it all and get the thing. And he's like, hey, they're building up. And then the move would happen. He goes, you see that? Oh, my God. Like, he would just freak. He sounds like Macho Man Randy Savage when he gets in there. He knows everything. They know him. They come by and they high-five him.
That's no shit.
Oh, they all know him. He was bringing
He just
wrestlers
did-
to the
he just did
set.
a- he just did a
He brought
video.
Diamond
Yeah.
Dallas to the set.
Yeah.
Oh,
shit.
I know Diamond. I the rubber thingy. But everybody, and his kids are into the rest. But he's honestly, salt of the earth, biggest heart, such a good dude.
And largest calves you've ever seen.
oh, yeah, huge.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
literally,
could-
he's got
yeah.
freakishly large
Yeah.
calves.
I could believe
Like,
that.
dude,
Yeah.
What did you do?
Man, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, he's a good dude. But yeah, so Jessica, she was supposed to. A bomb went off
Die?
and she was gonna.
Wow.
Why didn't
Saved by the COVID.
What's crazy
Saved
is
by the COVID.
that's crazy because
Saved by
there was
the
a
COVID.
huge lull in recording too.
Yeah,
Like,
we went shut down for like 5 months.
Yeah, ish. Yeah.
We were the first show to come back, and a lot of shows got canceled because they were indoors.
Right.
The reason we got
Yeah,
around
that's
the
true.
insurance
Yeah.
liabilities because
Most of it's outdoors.
they
It
makes
these
sense.
guys,
Non-studio.
Tyler and the rest of the producers, they really went to studio. Be like, we're going to be on the sides of mountains. We
Right.
can create that distance. We're not. So we literally for that season 4, we were outside all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And
we
it
did
was
very few studio days.
Yeah, it was which is definitely an ass kicker. Like that show.
Oh, it was-
I
it
will
was
tell you this.
Kicking.
The best show. Like, I was so sad when it ended.
yes.
Like, and still get sad because it was just such a time of our lives and just what we get to do, flying around Blackhawks and doing crazy shit. But it beat us up. Like,
I believe it.
How did it start? Like, how did this Y SEAL team? How did it start? Who started it? What's the story behind this thing?
So I mean, it's not really our story, but I'll give you the kind of the rough cut version. So
Mark Owens.
yeah, Mark Owen, who wrote No Easy Day and No Hero,
Okay.
and has actually got a third book coming out soon. He
He sold his Spielberg first.
Yeah, Spielberg was actually the first person on board. Spielberg and Chulak, who eventually,
And it was
but
at HBO.
It was at
development.
HBO, and then HBO kind of stuff happened. and
HBO is known for development, and you're
shelve it.
constantly in development.
yeah, it just
development.
didn't
So-
apparently go well, and then next thing you know, they walked with it. Spielberg, bowed out and had other stuff to do. And then it eventually ended up with another writer, Ben Cavell, and ended
awesome.
at CBS. Yeah, great writer. And he basically, you know, they got the pilot greenlit, and
Les Moonves.
so they shot the pilot first?
Yeah.
yeah,
that's where we all
pilot,
met,
yeah, pilot, and I got brought on as so Mark, you know, who had wrote the book and was a Dev Group SEAL, but he had never worked in Hollywood, so I had advised on several
Suicide
movies
Squad.
at that point. Yeah, I'd been working in Hollywood for years. They called me up to be the advisor on the pilot, and so I went out and worked for 6 weeks on the pilot with this guy. And my story, which is my little funny piece of it, is I show up on the pilot, and I'm like, you guys don't have enough people to do this. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you got this scene right here where 4 people go into a room and talk about these kids. No one is going and helping these kids.
Right.
I mean, you got 4 people come into a room and just start talking, oh my God, these kids are dying, you know. I'm like, but no one's helping them. Like, you need some people to fill this out, to do stuff. If you got people that are coming in a room and doing dialogue, who's in there clearing the room? So I'm like, you need to expand this team outside of just the 4 lead actors.
Right. And then he hands his headshot. And,
I was like, I don't know anyone that would do it,
but I'm available.
I'm going to be here either way. So, no, actually, randomly, I kind of told them that, and they said, well, you know, do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, because it's actually easier, because then I can do the very technical stuff. Like, I do pretty much the whole, most of the show, I did all the breaches.
Other than Max, none of us had really any experience with firearms. So they put Tyler at the front, and we could then sort of hide behind it. And it wasn't like we went through a boot camp. We showed, like, there was,
no,
they were literally,
I planned one, and it got canceled for insurance reasons.
We showed up. We went to a camera test where we just put the gear on, and they were figuring out the differential weights for things. And I, at the time, had the quads, which I always just remember, like, I was like a drunk baby. I'd be like, whoa, like, oh my God. And then I had the saw, and I was like, what the fuck? And then we went from that to just basically into it, not knowing what. And then Tyler and Justin and
well, so first of all, David Boreanaz was not the original lead.
Jim Caviezel was.
I remember that. I remember something happened where it didn't work out, and then David came in, and I was watching NBJ talk about it and how it was just an instant click.
I'd worked with, I'd known Jim for years, and he was just miscast. He was older, and just it wasn't the thing, and it just wasn't working out. And we thought, because they'd already spent like $10 million at this point. We shot a week, and on a pilot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot. So, and we're only a week in.
And you guys are in a weird time, because there were 2 other shows that were on, The Brave.
Yeah, The Brave.
It's like, dude, think of the first week of SEAL Team Pilot as like Tropic Thunder.
Right. Oh, God.
Rookie director,
Holy
shit. They are a month behind schedule, 3 days into filming.
So we're literally we're there, and we're starting to feel like, because first everyone's excited. First night at dinner, see the producers keep going out.
Dude, it's crazy.
Then they were never at
Panic.
And then Max and he's been in the business. He's like, something's up, guys. I mean, he's like, I got a bad feeling. I think we're gonna be sent home.
I got a bad feeling.
I got a bad feeling. So, and then we're supposed to report to work or pick up the thing. And as we're getting up in the morning, like, hey, the
some bullshit excuse.
The plane can't get the door
so
down.
The rotary
and we're like,
specs on the
so we're like,
it's not working.
And then I remember Max sends a text like, he gone, and I'm like, what? He's like Caviezel's out. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like this is either over or they're bringing a replacement.
Okay.
And we get called down to the office. They're like, so we're going to take today off, and we're going to start back up tomorrow. But we're starting at the beginning. We're going to shoot everything over again.
Okay.
But you already spent $10 million.
Oh yeah. So this is crazy. This was it turned out to be one of the most expensive pilots of all time.
Wow.
For CBS. And we literally, out of nowhere, the clouds parted. And I swear to God, this is one of the coolest moments ever. We're on the tarmac.
Yep.
David Boreanaz gets out of an SUV. And when I say it was an entrance of entrances, because I was like, this show's going to go for a long time.
Fucking eagles flying and
dude,
shit.
It really was. Like, you want to talk about, like...
He showed up, and I got to give it to him, man.
Right into a scene. First scene with Davis on the C-130 was his first scene.
Yeah.
Shut the... What?
Yeah.
Right into the back of the C-130.
And he went from
aircraft.
that onto the boat, and he almost drowned.
Yep.
The second scene, I'll never
pulled
forget
him out
this.
of the water.
Yeah, he jumped in, and the scuba divers were out to lunch.
Dude, they weren't even in the water.
Divers weren't in the water.
Wow.
He was so weighted down, he started going under, and we're supposed to come by on the boat and tie a hook, supposed to hook him and pull him in.
Right.
And I'm on point, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, he's really into this scene. Like, I'm like, but I don't remember this dialogue.
He's like, get me the fuck out! I'm like,
he's going. He's like, oh,
I don't remember that dialogue.
And then we pull him in the thing, and as he comes over, his gun hits him in the face,
dude,
splits his nose open.
He had just
day one. I gotta give the guy.
And he had his like the straps. He was just.
And I remember
all the gear was just like
that was like the tanker scene, right?
Yeah.
The gear was like strangling him. It was.
And I remember when he's got blood coming down his face. I'm like, you okay, buddy? He goes, I was supposed to be in fucking Hawaii.
Shit. So that blood on his hand wasn't really Nate's. It was actually his own.
So, and then but he goes back, and I'll never forget, he goes and he sees Biz, and he goes, you good? And Dave's like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. And fucking turned around, got back, and, dude, like, David Boreanaz, to his credit, he basically got the show sold in every territory out of the gates. The show would not have had the success early on. He's like gold in Hollywood with the show's going to syndication, and he really like I don't think, it's no offense to Jim, I just don't think he was cast right. And when David came, it was like Bones had just ended.
Yeah.
He got off that.
So I'll add something to that. It's funny is they actually went to Boreanaz.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And he was like, no, because he just ended 11 or 12 years of
of
Bones.
Bones.
He's like, no. And then I always give him shit because I'm like, yeah, you say no, but then you get 3 weeks off and you say yes, because that's what happened with SEAL Team. He had like 3 weeks off when they called him back, and then he was bored, and he's like, okay, and then another 8 years on
he's
television.
got the luck of the Irish for sure.
I'm assuming you guys got multiple offers after that pilot when you guys are. Was that for CBS specifically?
So the pilot. So you go to the pilot, then you wait. You have like a 2-month wait where they cut it, edit it, and then they show it, and then the studio decides basically
the test.
What to order.
They want to continue it. So that model has changed a lot. Now they just go straight to series order.
Very different.
Because it's like, why risk wasting this money?
So much money,
and just go to things. So they kind of they pitch it better, which is good and bad. But we get the call. I got to tell the story of that we were just talking about earlier. So we find out the show's got picked up. Like, this is the greatest role I've ever gotten.
Did like
I don't know, man. Dave, the boyfriend on Entourage, was fucking the shit.
What's up, dog?
What's up, dog? One in 100 pilots get picked up. So
one on what?
Like 1 in 100 pilots get picked up. I mean, it's you're talking about what got made into a pilot to begin with.
It's like 1 in 50,000 that you'll get a pilot. And then 1 in fucking
the odds are
it's
ridiculously small.
Wow.
So what if someone just made it out of their own pocket and just like, hey, I want to just.
Well, it'll
never see the light of day.
But that's now. There's more of a chance of it doing now. But back then there was
impossible.
There was a network. There wasn't Netflix. There wasn't all these other things.
Yeah.
It was just
you had to go through the
NBC,
distribution
ABC.
channels,
and that was it. So you had all the what we say? Oh yeah. So then after that you find out you get flown in New York, right? It's called the Upfronts. It's at Radio City Music Hall, which we all know.
New York City.
New York City.
Big venue.
We're first class out there, driver, security. You're like, man, this is, and like I'd been on series before, CSI New York for 9 years and some other things, but I was never one of the leads, and it was different. I was like, I remember saying to my wife,
I'm a star.
But I was like, I'm getting. I was invited to the pictures, like, because before, if you're like on CSI New York, I was one of the nerds.
Just say the word nerd.
I was a nerd. I'm a nerd. But you're sort of on the outside, and then you sort of get in. You're like, oh wow, this is. So it was a very overwhelming, amazing. You're like, wow, this is the stuff I dreamed of.
I made it.
So I'm super pumped to go in. We have to do this. We have press first, then we go out to the stage, and we're doing a dry rehearsal because they're going to introduce all the media from around the world have come and pack the theater.
Right.
Packed.
These are the stars of the new show.
And they're really selling it because it's how they get their foreign sales.
Right.
And they do a big production, and it's trailers and stuff.
AJ Buckley.
So they literally, David walks out. Things, big billboard, sizzle reel of him. Max walks out. Oh, boy. Neil walks out. I walk out, and as I walk out, and we're supposed to walk out, and
the screen is like 4 stories tall.
Yeah, this is the rehearsal.
Okay.
So I walk out, and she says, "Hit your mark." He's like, "We have fans, blah blah blah," and all your trailer stuff we have there. So I turn, and I'm like, "This is my moment." Now look, I'm ready to see you. And I look, and it's an action reel, and it's all of him.
Not a
the
single
editor.
They screwed up.
They put And he has like no lines, but all the action stuff and the pictures. It says AJ Buckley. And it's Tyler like this, and I'm like,
all 6 pictures are me.
Oh, yeah, not one of me. And I'm like, hold on a second. My publisher's like, what the fuck? And she's like, excuse me. Goes over to CO's publicist. She's like, that's not AJ. She goes, yeah, that's AJ. And I'm like, no, ma'am, that's not AJ. That's Tyler Gray. He was detective advisor. She's like. My father's like, you need to fix this. She's like, we can't. Like, we're but you have to go. So the biggest moment ever. I walk inside. He's like, AJ Buckley, and it's fucking Tyler Gray. Stole my moment.
I'm glad y'all are good friends.
Holy crap.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's your moment, though.
Yeah, it was fun. It was, but it made it even better. It was like, because when I told him, he's like, what the fuck? I'm like, bro. You were 4 stories high with AJ Buckley at the bottom.
That's crazy. That's
you have
crazy.
no lines?
No, not in the pilot.
Wait, you're supposed to have, what is that, SAG card?
Yeah. So when I never intended to act on camera. It's just I love writing, directing. That's my jam. Right. Producing, but acting on camera just wasn't. And I like it. Don't get me wrong, but it just was not what I was going for. And the first time I ever tech advised on a movie, I tech advised. I was on the movie for 3 months, whatever. My buddy at the time does like a week as an actor and makes more money as an actor in 1 week than I made 3 months as an advisor. Damn. So I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. Yeah. So I then actually, ironically, on that movie was the director came up to us my birthday and he's like, I need a line in this scene, and he's like, it's your birthday, you're gonna do it. And I'm like, okay. I was not ready to say anything, right? And it was like a radio call. It's like, house is empty, no one's home or something like that. Right. And so anyways, I deliver the line. I messed it up like 5 times, and then finally he's like, have you ever done a radio call? I'm like, yeah. He goes,
do it like that.
Just do a radio call. And I was like, I thought it was something, I thought I had to act it. No. And he's like, no, just do a radio call.
So it's 2-5.
So, yeah. I was like, so I just do it, and he's like, awesome, move it on. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it was. So then I got into SAG. So then anything that I worked on, like Suicide Squad being an example, where I was like, I'll help advise, but I want to be on camera because then I'll do a job you were going to hire a stunt person or an actor for anyways. I can do the technical stuff. Obviously, I know how to do that. Yeah. And so then that's kind of how I was luckily set up in that position. When SEAL Team came along, I was already in SAG, and I had been, I had done lines before to where I was okay doing.
You got to do a couple of lines or something to get like
every actor's got to do cocaine. Every actor's got to do cocaine.
That's just got to do a lot of lines. You got to do a lot of baggies.
Peruvian.
That's crazy.
That was my marching powder. That's how you get into the club.
Yeah, but yeah. That's
what you're talking about, right?
Rite of passage.
That's the fuel that makes the industry move, right? Yeah. But so that was kind of how. And then, by season, 7, I'm like, my character's waking up from a coma, you know what I mean? Yeah. Which, I'm like, oh, shit, like, that's actual
It was really cool. They actually saved money on the prosthetic stuff. They didn't have to bring in makeup for his arm at all. Like, it was literally like crazy.
We sold it. We never explained it, by the way. Not even like a throwaway. Remember I got hurt that one time?
So many people thought on the show that it was like makeup. Like people that didn't know Tyler, like the audience just thought it was makeup. Like they would spend it's just crazy.
It does look very real.
Yeah,
it is.
I wear
like it looks so like if you see it on camera, like that was a choice for the thing until they meet and like that's like whoa, like it's crazy how what people and then online when you read people came up with. There's like fan fiction,
yes,
and people come up with stories. Oh, why did this happen?
Right, it dives deep. They're talking about like there's deep lore about maybe David's character on Bones is like connected to Jason Hayes, and like the parallel with that.
I never went down that rabbit hole.
There's a bunch of stuff.
Actually, some. Talking to David, David's character. Was a ranger,
right?
In Bones. If you talk to David about it, so that's not.
Have you ever seen the? You gotta look at this. Google Rip Wheeler versus Sonny Quinn.
Okay.
And there's fan fiction on who would win.
Who's Rip? Who's Rip Wheeler?
Cole Hauser on Yellowstone.
Okay.
So there was like we'll get him and I.
What he's not mentioning is that fan fiction was written by AJ.
This is yours.
I ended up with
AJ's at home like, and AJ Buckley wins.
So let's dive into that. I mean, Bravo 3, Bravo 4, right, on the show. And like I said, I nerded out on the show. Matter of fact, to the point where This is your patch.
I know, dog.
Yeah,
That's
that is.
awesome.
From season 2 that came off your kit. And
Oh,
then-
really?
Oh, Justin
that's
hooked you up?
awesome.
Yeah, just hooked me up. And Justin, I met him last year at Sushi Samba, and I was like, "Hey, man, I love what you do." He was like, "Hey, I got something for you."
That's
Is
so good.
Justin
so
not one of the
Melnick.
greatest guys ever?
He's so cool.
He
He's so awesome.
He is. He honestly, man, he's got such a big heart. He works harder than
Yes.
anybody, and not for nothing. He would get a lot of flack when he just break his balls because it's easy to break his balls. But our kits looked the way that they did because the time and effort that he would come to
Correct.
SHOT Show. He would kill himself here, and no one.
While we were filming,
Yeah,
by
right.
the way,
Yeah,
I did.
and
I
no
mean,
one in on the Hollywood side of
would
things
take
understood.
take off time from
Right.
filming to come to
No
shot.
one understood what it took for our kits because amongst the military community, the first thing everybody says,
Critique your kit.
fucking kits, dude. Who
Yeah.
does your kits? And I'm like,
Yes.
"It's fucking, and it's like, and I didn't know what I was putting on. And then when I understood, I'm like, "Dude, I don't care like this. And Justin's like, no, like you got, I want you to have,
needs to make sense.
It's got to have a little dust
Run,
right
you
here.
got
like,
and I want all these things. I'm like, dude, I don't care. And then when I started reading the comments, I was like, oh, I see. He took so much pride,
Yeah.
and he deserves the credit that he should get for the time and effort that he put here,
Right.
building relationships. Because we would have been absolutely fucked,
Yeah.
and it would not have looked as cool. And I think between
We had better gear than actual SEAL teams.
yeah,
honestly.
even some of
Yeah.
the Delta guys came by and they were just like, "What the fuck? Why don't we have this?" And Justin's like, "Fuck you, Justin."
it's kind of funny because that's just like you said, the critiquing of kit really made or break. It can really,
Oh, yeah.
the what do you say when you dive into a show, the immersion.
It'll piss
of it.
people off.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'll take another show, for instance, The Brave. Did not resonate with me whatsoever because the kit was not. The guys had open S&S precision plate carriers, 3 mags. Like, you're not just carrying that. And when you guys got into it, especially how your character was, Sonny, he knuckle dragger by
Yeah.
force, however you want to say it. He's carrying around all these nutsacks in the pack. He's got, 240, 249 busting it out, or he's busting out at 416, all this jazz.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how you guys actually blended everything together, it just really made a difference. You could see it. Not only that, but the camaraderie amongst the cast was visual. And I don't think you guys know. I'm just an outside dude.
No, it was.
enjoying
It was
this.
special.
It was very special, and you could see it, like, truly. The relationships that you guys had, even in story with the writing, again, kudos to your writers. They really made that happen.
I did, like there was something that Chris Chulak did at the beginning, and I gotta really give him credit for it. He really set the tone with our guys on set,
Right.
and let other directors know when they came in
Okay.
to film.
Yeah, he set a
And he was,
precedent.
and Chris Chulak. He's a really warm.
He set the
He's a really
precedent.
warm guy when you get to know him. But when you first meet him, he's very intimidating.
Okay.
Because he's did the ER. He's like Emmys. Like he's Chris Chulak.
Right.
And when he's like, if you didn't fucking do like, he would get pissed off because other directors come in because he made a promise to these guys that he was going to make them look good.
Right.
And the show itself, I'm sure you noticed, it was only told from our POV. You're never with the bad guys.
Right.
And until you notice that, and you're like, oh, that's what you never. So directors would come in, and then we'd be the bad guys, and they'd want to put the camera over the bad guys. You're like, no, it's only through our eyes. You see the bad guys when we see the bad guys.
Right.
So the directors are like, so we're never doing coverage. No, it's only unless one of our characters is on the other side. Then you. But if we're not there, you're not. So it took them aside, and they gave a lot of it. Ty was leading the charge at the beginning of if they didn't like what was happening, they could tell the director, you can't do that.
Wow.
And it was a really cool thing, and it changed everything. And we had so many veterans. I think over 60% of our veterans, our crew were veterans.
Veterans,
at one
yep.
point.
Yeah,
all
we
our
had a lot
doubles,
of-
all of our
lot of-
doubles were
Yep.
former special
Full
ops.
Metal,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
Fox, last name Fox.
Fox,
Yeah.
Fox, yeah.
Fox, Ryan Sangster,
Chase.
Simos, Chase,
Yeah.
Kenny.
Guy was on
Chase,
Alpha.
yeah. My
He
guy,
was the second round.
Chase,
Yep.
Chase, Chase, and I that guy made me look so fucking good. He really did. He put his body through fucking hell.
And that's
he's forever broken from
Yeah,
SEAL
yeah,
team.
he was
Like all of us.
He would just grunt and he'd be like, "You okay, dude?" I'm like, "Holy fuck, that looked awesome." He's like, "Yes, fuck." I'm like, he just looked in pain. I was like, "Thank you, thank you."
I want to throw out something else, class, guns here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this, and this is an absolute fact. So first of all, we had the greatest armor in the history of armors on our show.
He's
Mike
here.
Papik.
You guys should definitely do an interview.
Oh,
With
dude,
him.
Okay.
Oh,
dude,
you
he's
should.
got stories.
He's got the original Die Hard gun.
Oh, shit.
Oh, he's
he-
got
he
way
did-
more
yeah.
than that.
Wow.
Like, I have a picture. I'll show you the picture of Hounds Groomers P7.
Oh, shit.
Or it's a
P7, yeah.
No, it's not actually a P7. It's actually a 40 cal. I think it's a P10. I think, or no, it's a P7M. Because I have a P7 M8. It's not. It's a P7 M10. It's a 40 count. Randomly. But I'll show you a picture of it. But
Okay.
But he's got that. He's got
the biggest collection.
So here's a fact that a lot of people don't know. It's very interesting.
Okay.
The pistol, the Beretta M9 from Die Hard 1, is the same exact Beretta M9 from Lethal Weapon 1. I'm like Mike.
Same
I'm like
serial
Mike.
number.
You used the same
God.
pistol, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, that's like probably the most
Yeah.
iconic pistol
right.
in the history of pistols.
Huge movies.
Two huge. I mean, Die Hard and Lethal Weapon,
Right.
same M9. How crazy is that?
That's crazy.
And yeah, but he's got all the guns from Pulp Fiction. He's got all kinds of stuff. And I mean,
you said armor, like prop master.
well, no. So there's in Hollywood you have props and you have the armor, and the armor is just guns, and technically the armor guns falls under
basically
props.
They're their own branch. Like no one touches them. No
Yeah,
one
they're
touches them.
technically under props, but the armor is guns
separate.
specifically. It's a
Gotcha.
specific,
Right.
Like
it's a specific.
a prop person, if they're not part of that, no one can touch the things. When you're
Except
an
for the
actor,
armor, yeah.
They come up to you, they hand
Hand
it
it to you.
they
Yeah.
show you
Especially-
their career.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
show you
very,
and
especially
they light it up.
post-Rust.
Nobody
yeah.
else touches
And the
it.
fact that
No.
that shit happened on that
It's
set,
insanity. It's
Alex,
the craziest thing I've
makes
ever
no.
heard.
There's no way that
There-
should have ever
The
happened.
level of failures that happen
You
for
have
that
to-
to happen are
There's
almost
like 20
unfathomable.
missteps
Wow.
because on our show, and we were already doing
20 missteps that are so egregious that it's hard for me
Right.
to comprehend the level
my
of
round should
incompetence.
never even be in 10 miles.
It's insanity.
Like that
It's
would
insanity.
never happen.
Wow.
Right?
But
And-
Mike, so here's the thing. Mike was one of the original independent armors.
Okay.
So it's like, look, ISS is a huge prop house, huge armory section, and ISS is great, and I know a bunch of people there. But if you hire ISS, you're getting somebody that's from that site. When you hire Mike Papik, Sentiment Weaponry, you get Mike Papik.
Right.
He shows up, not some dudes. I mean,
Himself.
you'll get some dudes of his too, but Mike is going to show up. Mike converted the original MP5 to blank firing. He knows everything there is to know about these weapons.
And he also too, not to cut you up, but he like if you as I got comfortable in the character and I realized, I can go to Mike and discuss things I wanted, like, and he would sit there. He's like, "Yeah, it's a good idea." I like he goes, and then he would come back and be like,
Dude, if you, we could do it right now. You could put on SEAL Team.
Right.
We could watch every episode,
Right.
and I can point to every single gun in the entire show, and I can tell you why that gun was chosen. There's not a gun you can point to on that show that I can't tell you why it was chosen, because Mike and I had a conversation about every single gun.
Okay.
And we had a reason why that gun was chosen for that character.
Okay,
every single gun. Pick one, I'll give
challenge
you
you
the story.
to it.
Yeah.
The switch from 416s to Neveskis.
That was based on, a couple reasons.
Okay.
So one, Dev Group actually did switch from 416 to Neveskis.
Okay.
So that's part of it.
Okay.
It was technically more accurate to switch than Neveskis.
Right.
Two, it was just different and cool. And again, it is more authentic, as we know. Mm-hmm. But in addition to the authenticity, we just wanted something new.
Okay.
We just wanted something a little bit more. We'd done the 416s for years.
Right.
Dev Group did switch to the Noveskis, so we're like, well, let's switch to match that authenticity and just to give a little variation since we've obviously been using the 416s for a long time.
That's what's up.
But yeah, like
I never
mean,
got to shoot. I always had the fucking big thing around my neck. And
I had to shoot the saw in the Mark 48 and look really cool. Feel sorry for me. God, dude, who doesn't want to be the machine gun guy in the movie? Come on.
I'm happy.
Come on.
So how's the blank shooting? So they're
I
wanting
got
to use a lot of CGI.
circumcised. It's a crazy story. When I got circumcised, I'm not kidding. So my wife sat in on it because she's a nurse.
What is circumcision?
Circumcision? Or like,
That's where you have
I
one
just want
ball,
to see.
right?
I just want to see AJ explain it.
Circumcised is no
Oh, you
circumcised.
won't make him squirm.
Circumcised is where you cut your foreskin off, or where you fucking get your nuts taped.
Foreskin.
Foreskin part.
Okay, no, I have my foreskin, so I have me circumcised. So just
That's
that
pull back.
By the way, that's
hey,
why.
hey,
That's
if
why
you're
he
ever on
didn't-
Jeopardy and they ask, "Does AJ Buckley have foreskin?" The answer is yes, sir, he does for $500.
And that's why
That was not on my SHOT Show bingo card at all.
And that's
I
why
didn't know
AJ didn't know what circumcision.
So what's the
is.
one where you get fucking your
Snipped.
Snipped?
The snipped, but there's a word for it.
fixed.
Yeah,
Fixed.
that's
Castrated?
No,
they
castrated is
literally-
where you
I
get
got
your
snipped.
dick
That's
cut
what
off.
they
Yeah,
always
snip,
say.
snip. So
Yeah.
so snipped. So
Get your balls.
Yeah, so my wife actually sat in and watched it because she's a nurse, and I just remember the doctor started giving her like a class down there. I'm like, babe, what the fuck is like? Can we hurry along with this? Like nuts, and so I don't know how we got here.
You should have got a circumcision 2 for 1 at the time.
No, dude, I got a fucking
Double
beautiful pole neck.
Blanks. All right, we're going back to
Snoodle.
No,
The
it's fuck-
snoodle.
Dude, it's really cool. No joke. I was drunk one time when we were on location, and I fucking wanted to see what round could fit in it and hide it.
Yeah. 22 long rifle.
I was asked.
308 black tip.
I was asked to ask. No, there was something about a trailer
Judd.
where someone walked into a trailer and you guys were.
Judd, when we woke him up?
I believe so.
Where Judd's like,
When we freaked him out and he threw the pillow at us.
well, he
Yeah,
just
that
flew.
was great.
Is that the one? Like he
went
Some
crazy.
of
Oh no, where Max threw the fucking rattlesnake at me?
Yes.
Fucking, I hate snakes. I hate snakes. And Max found a dead rat. Max, true guy.
dead.
Part of the reason why we missed, it was so sad to see Max go because he was just such
He was
a.
the prankster.
He just always
He led the pranks.
And I have a problem falling asleep. I would just fall asleep all the time.
I don't think you had a problem. He would. AJ could literally fall asleep while you were talking to him. You'd be talking to AJ and he'd be like,
I did have twins, and
Understandable.
But but yeah, Max loved to fuck with me when I was falling asleep. That he'd always just giggle. You watch the videos of him walking up to pranking me, and he would be laughing so hard about what he's about to do to me.
Wow.
And it was just
Judd one though is the best one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Max walked in there with a fucking snake, and I'm asleep, and he throws the goddamn thing at me. I think it's alive, and I'm like, ah! He just found it. I think he picked it up and threw it at me.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a dick move.
The
funny.
blank. What do you mean, as far as the blanks though?
So I
mean,
just-
obviously blank firing guns, but
Yeah, I
what-
just keep hearing the CGI, computer generated
no.
stuff. That,
So I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
There's not every single gun we used on the show is a real gun.
because I want to ask
We
this.
did not use any airsoft guns at
Yeah,
literally at any point.
Some
in
shows
the
do that.
entire
It
show.
sucks.
Yeah,
I
I think
saw
I
the-
think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It looks horrible. And I'll tell you right now, I don't care what anybody says. It costs more money.
Wow.
The other way? The air,
It costs more money.
to shoot blanks?
It costs. I've seen the production cost. I've seen the back end.
Right.
The thing that's happening in production now, which I don't agree with, is this. What's happening is people don't want to deal with it on set, so they just kick it to post-production to make it easier on them.
Okay.
I see.
And it is a lot of work to have live guns shooting blanks.
Right.
You got to actually load the mag, and it's a process. When you shoot airsoft, you just. But again, the thing that
but
I
you
don't
don't have that.
You don't have
Right.
the feedback. It's not a real
Yeah.
gun, and when it's not a real gun, you treat it as such. There's just something about shooting full load blanks that gives the actor the feedback, which is impossible to do with airsoft. That feels like a real gun. Not to mention, dude, as soon as you go belt fed, it's ridiculous. That thing's
Correct.
not ejecting anything, and it looks like dog crap.
And
And
most
most
amount of money they spend in post trying to add that.
and they
stuff.
try and add that stuff in, and dude, it just costs more money. It's I believe that I don't agree, and I understand some people. There are certain stunt sequences where I understand why people do it, but I personally, I'll never shoot anything that's not shooting live blank guns because I believe in the authenticity that inserts into
Right.
the
And
product.
it adds way more intensity.
Correct.
When you're in a gunfight and there's fucking a flame coming out of your thing.
Right.
But you're very aware, like that.
As you would be if it was
Yeah,
real,
like,
Right.
because it's a
you
real
wanna
gun.
flag
Probably
anybody,
acting
Right.
you know,
natural.
No,
So-
you got to treat it. It is a real
Yeah.
gun, and you need to treat it as such. As soon as it's an airsoft, actors don't treat it as real guns
Correct.
because, to be fair, they're not.
And just like he said, it goes back to how you feel, to getting that recoil impulse. I use one instance when episode where y'all were on the Iranian border
Oh, yeah.
and the fallen pilot, and you were stuck by yourself, and the way that you were running that belt fed until that nutsack ran dry, and then you had to switch to your pistol. That is like you could see it switching positions real quick, and like you have to muscle that thing.
I will say I worked super hard on my transitions on that with Chase. I really wanted to. There were certain things I was like, I really want to try because man, it is so freaking hard to do. But they give you like one or two takes to be like, you got to get it on this one, and then every once in a while everything would just fucking happen. Like I did it. Oh, like yes. And I'm happy, and those guys are like yes, or just even doing a reload on it and like, get it in time to where the camera come in and then bam.
Yeah.
Right.
Big thing a lot of people don't realize when you're talking about gun manipulations is you might do something perfect, But if the camera movement isn't perfect,
then
it didn't get caught, and you got to do it again. Okay. So the camera movement is the big X factor in shooting action. That's really important because the camera's movement and timing has to match the action's movement and timing perfectly. Wow. It's very different, just difficult to sync those up.
And on most, I'd say 99% of TV shows, you have marks. So camera thing, like we sit here, they'd have tape, the T mark, and we'd all know where we're standing. We're all doing the scene, blah, blah, blah. The chair
and you have a start mark and an end mark.
All that stuff. Chris Chios told us in the pilot, he goes, I don't believe in marks. He goes, you're not going to know when the camera turns to you. So in every scene, I want you to be fucking in it. And we're like, okay. Which made us, and because they'd be like, and Jimmy Murrow, who's a super famous.
He filmed the gun fight
in Heat.
That is so
Jimmy Murrow
good.
is the greatest Steadicam operator in Heat.
Yeah, he's the best Steadicam operator.
And I've asked him every fucking question you can imagine about Heat. So
this guy's a classic. When we did it,
he's a maniac.
David's episode where he had to climb the hill and then jump on the horses.
Yes,
that motherfucker carried the fucking Steadicam, and we climbed. We were only supposed to go 15 feet up.
15 foot or 15
because David was
minutes.
directing it. David's like, just keep going. We're going to the top. And Jimmy's like, go to the fucking top. And we're like, yeah. And we all had ammo. We're all reloading, shooting the things. And we all, it was a really great moment because we all made it to the top. The scene went way longer, but there was pieces in that.
It's like an entire episode.
Yeah. But there was pieces in there as we got to the top that it actually was more authentic, that we pushed past that thing and we're at where we're actually out of breath and trying to think, that made that shot so fucking. Not only that camera was heavier than any of our guns that we're carrying, and he fucking like a mountain goat carried it, was there like this, and he was like, dude, Jimmy Murray is the baddest man on the planet.
That's crazy.
And he's done a lot. If we went through his film repertoire,
wow.
Terminator 2, Steadicam operator, Terminator 2, Steadicam operator, and Jimmy Murrow. I think James Murrow's is IMDb.
One of the best guys, man.
Yeah, he's a freakish, what's it called? The Abyss. Yeah, he was a world.
He was Michael Mann's guy.
He did the Steadicam for Point Break.
Yeah,
Point Break.
Yeah, the chase scene with the Steadicam. That's Jimmy. Jimmy's but he was our DP for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Director of photography.
So what else you guys got coming up?
The show,
show and podcast,
which we're really excited about.
Podcast,
the podcast.
Yeah. So we got podcast.
The podcast started.
We started yesterday,
and then so the podcast will sort of live on its own. But the fun part about it is if you show the back of the shirt there. So the back of the shirt, we have something called the Big Richard, and so we partnered with Ford and Total Off Road, and they're building us a giant overland vehicle that we're turning into our mobile podcast unit.
Wow!
And we're gonna travel all across the country and wherever. And while Tyler's teaching me how to be a man, basically, and get weird. We're going to stop off at different places, meet some preppers, meet off-grid people. We'll go to restaurants. We'll
stop in Charlotte.
We will, 100%.
Okay.
We're going to go everywhere. We're going to do all these things. From jumping out of planes.
We'll go to companies and check out stuff.
From jumping out of planes and landing in the back of like an off-grid, veggie garden and making a salad later. It'll be that type of thing. And sort of reintroducing, how to, be prepared.
Right. Preparedness, self-reliance.
But taking it with me as the sort of entry point through my eyes and learning with comedy. So losing all the doom and gloom bullshit and making it really fucking fun. Me, again, fisting a cow, which is great comedy.
But also,
it's like The Simple Life, but for men.
Exactly.
But we're also going to do things like, I'll give you an example. I'll just give you an example in the survival space. Something that drives me bananas. Bugging out.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah, what's your bug out bag,
dude? I'm gonna bug out. Where are you going,
dude? I've been saying that. Where are you going? I always say that, dude.
Like nowhere. Where are you going? Nowhere.
I'm gonna go to the woods.
Fucking nowhere.
About the woods.
Nowhere. No, but people. So it's like L.A. I'll give you an example. It's just people are like, oh, I gotta get my bug out bag. I'm like, where are you going? The mountains. And I'm like, bro. And don't get me wrong, one of my favorite movies of all time. But I'm like, this ain't Red Dawn. Like, this ain't 1986 here. Like, dude, if 1% of LA went to Big Bear, I'll just use a Big Bear example. 1%, dude, that place would be over freaking flowing with people. And let's just say 0.1% went there. Fuck, let's say no one went there. Let's say the people that live in Big Bear right now. Could you live off the land in Big Bear?
No.
Fuck no.
No.
This ain't
It's not like
1920s. It's not like fucking
mountain goats everywhere.
Right. Dude, it's not like freaking Africa and there's freaking herds roaming the mountains in
Yeah.
Big Bear. There is not enough wildlife to
even sustain.
So it's like, where are you going and what are you doing? And it's like, let's be honest, bugging out. Where are you bugging out from? The city. Why? All the shit's there. Why are you leaving where everything is? You know what I would do if a situation happened? I'd be the motherfucking king of Walmart.
Oh, true.
I'd be like, see that Walmart? That's mine. I own it.
There you go.
And I would be
You
his
want
hype
something?
man. I'd be his hype man. So I'm fucking Walmart.
I get like 10 dudes.
Yeah.
I'd get 10 dudes and we would take over the Walmart. They got generators, they got food, and think about that. Think about that.
We
Why
basically
are
want
you
Walmart to be a
leaving?
sponsor of our
Yes,
show. So
yeah.
Walmart.
But Walmart, please come on board. We'll come to Bentonville, Arkansas. But it's like,
better
think
off.
We want
about it.
Target, but we'll settle for Walmart.
But it's like, why are we taught? Why is the survivalist movement, the preparedness movement? Why are they talking about leaving where all the supplies are? It doesn't make any logical sense. But no one is actually looking at it from a logical perspective.
Right.
Everyone is looking at it from this fantastic fictional perspective of what movies are about, but that's just not the way that things actually work.
Right.
And I've got a ton of data that I will release on the show eventually about, dude, you know how much fuel depots, you know how much water is underneath a fire hydrant? Not in Los Angeles. Ooh, zing!
Yeah.
But outside of Los Angeles.
Gotta protect the fish.
Outside of Los Angeles, you know how much water, fresh water, is underneath a fire hydrant? It's a storage reservoir underneath each fire. I forget how many gallons I had. Look it up. But I used to have. We used to do urban survival schools when I was in the military.
Right.
We did all these things. By the way, you know who taught one of the urban survival schools I went to? Homeless people.
You know, that makes perfect sense.
It
They
makes
really,
perfect sense. And obviously they weren't the lead instructors,
Yeah.
but the people hired these homeless people to teach us little
Tricks.
training, little things like urban shelter. They would basically hire this person, and for a day they would teach us about urban shelter. Dude, I learned a ton of stuff. But those things that I learned for those, urban, homeless people, like, dude, some of the stuff, I'm like, that's genius. Like necessity is the mother of all invention, right?
Yep.
And but anyways, I've got all this stuff that I can't wait to release on the show.
That's awesome.
But it's just looking at it from a very logical perspective and not the perspective of what people think it is, rather the way it really is.
Right, and that's got to be real funny, especially given your background, right? Operator to the third degree. Got the
first degree, not third.
Well, sorry. First degree. Let me
Actually,
clarify.
No,
Holy shit.
Sorry. When I said first degree, I actually meant that self-deprecating. So I didn't mean that positively.
We're working on
third degree would be better. First degree would be worse. I was actually making a self-deprecating joke.
No, but bringing that experience to the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome, number one. And folks who may not realize it, I can only speak for myself. It was one of the realest shows on that actually showed much more than just the action guy shit. It showed.
Well, that was the intent of the show, from my perspective, was, look, is fast jumping out of a helicopter and hitting a house, does that look cool? Yeah, it looks cool. Is it cool? Yeah, it is cool. It's fun. But doing that job and doing that fun stuff, it comes at a cost to your personal life and to your family's life. And what we want to do as a show is, show the cool stuff. To me, I call it an accurate or an authentic recruiting commercial. Because, did we portray the cool stuff? Yes, we did. We did show it. And is it cool? Yes. But it comes at a cost.
Right.
And what I felt we needed to do was accurately portray that cost and just show it for what it is.
There's a really-
And if kids watch that and go, dude, I want to do that, that's cool.
Probably,
As long as they know realistically what the cost of that lifestyle actually is as well.
probably one of the most powerful, something that will always sit with me. There was the scene. It was the storyline of Swanee and
that was
Clay.
Which is based in a true story.
So the team guy that it was based on committed suicide, and the dad actually came down to set and sat in the writers' room and was on set when we were filming that. Wow. And there wasn't you couldn't, and it was what was so cool. And I don't want to speak for him, but I felt like it was this a little bit of healing for him too. Like he got to his son's story, which helped that episode in particular because they were the writers took a chance to go against and sort of fucking throw shade on the VA.
We were forced. This is a true story.
Sure, yeah.
We were forced by the VA. Mm-hmm. The VA forced CBS to put a statement on, I think, before after and say that story wasn't typical.
Shit.
Which, by the way, it happened. It actually happened. Yeah. So whether they want to say it was typical or not, the reality is it happened.
And everything how it happened in there, like the whole, and it was probably like
it was written, by the way, 6 months.
Yeah.
That episode, because the way it happens, it's because that actual scenario that in the episode happened 3 weeks before the episode was released. So of course the VA is like, oh my God, this just happened, and they're coming out with this, and it's like, well, dude, that's not the way the process works. We actually wrote that episode 6 months ago. We filmed it 3 months ago, and it just so happened to come out 3 weeks after. That was just
I remember seeing it, and it really hit me there. I was like, wow, there's such a duty that we have as the actors that when a dad is here talking to my son and he's crying and we're crying and like we're really paying homage to a story. There's a real responsibility, and then also too around the set, there's guys that are operating the camera, they're veterans. Tyler's there, the other guys are there, so there was very monumental moments in the filming of the show that I think everybody took a beat and was like, wow, this is like let's as best as we possibly can in the realm of storytelling and in the 42 minutes you have to tell a show, give it the best that you can. Everybody show up, pay the respects. The dad's on set. And I think Max, I think it's one of the best performances he did on the show.
Max is such an animal.
Yeah. And
Max is that guy that you're like, that you hate because he's just, there's nothing wrong with him.
I told Max if
he's like so talented, he's like so good looking. If you can fucking sing,
Max, if you right now start
I'll
fucking
kill you
singing,
right now.
I'm like, I don't want to be your friend. He's like, what? I'm like, it's just not fair, dude. If you can fucking play guitar and belt and sing right now, like, it's not cool. Like, I fucking look like a potato. I can't sing or dance.
Wow.
And fucking, you got a jawline, you're jacked, you got long hair.
Dude,
fucking,
like
you never get mad. Everybody loves you. And then you're going to get a guitar.
Great husband, great
fuck you, Max.
Great husband, great father. You're just like, you asshole.
Wow. And that's crazy how it comes back full circle like that. And like just like you said, those true moments that invoke what was going on. And for me, I know I can count 5 instances throughout the show's lineage that were really, really deep. Swanee being one of them. Another one, how you see the story arc and the character arcs grow. The one where Adam and how you saw how Clay was, or Max was up on his high horse, this and that, and he was fucking rocked to his teeth where he couldn't even move, stunned by that. And how your character had to literally pick him up and pull him together because you're still on mission, bro. You guys are like in the show. You still had to continue on. Another one, David's character losing his wife like that and not having that last word after they just got into an argument. That's crazy. Another one, and this one was really tight for me because there's 2. Because the moment that your character, when the EOD hazard and David Boreanaz's character told him to hit the wall because due to the TBI thing, and your character was laid up, and then they played the jokes acting like you were in a coma, but with the beard.
Yeah, that was
but
fun. Season
6, it was one of the deepest moments because everything was going, Clay's story, and then what happened, and then all of a sudden the phone call that was shook, and you could see it across when Spencer's character got killed off, and that was just nuts to see how you embraced that emotion and how everything was crazy, and then you were like literally crashing out after that. It was crazy to see. It really was.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember shooting the scene when you found. I think you were in the. I'm trying to remember where you were. I just remember filming that scene. I remember that very clearly when your character found out. And, I mean, it's such a. I mean, dude, after 130, however episodes it is, it's like, man, it all kind of blends into one. And it was just, we were so lucky to.
There's going to be, it'd be next to impossible to top that experience. And there wasn't, true as God, there wasn't a day that I did not drive onto that lot.
Right.
And before I went to work, every single fucking day, on my kid's life, that I didn't look up to this guy. I was like, thank you, God. This is the greatest.
Dude, AJ was so hyped up to start training when I showed up on the pilot. Like, I had literally had the second AD, maybe first AD, I don't know. Like, hey, can you fucking call this guy?
Wow.
Because he keeps calling me wanting to start, and he's like, can you just call him? And I was like, yeah, I'll finally call
Man, I
him.
need to find Sonny Quinn.
And AJ's like, I'm ready to go.
What are we doing, man? Let's get weird.
That is so cool.
It was an honor, and to hear it come from you guys, it means even more just because of your experience and seeing and a lot of guys that would have watched shows before, if they've told us and they've tuned it out, they're like, actually, when I watched it, did it, and then they got something out of it, or it allowed them to talk about these invisible wounds of war.
Right.
And
I want to.
I love you.
So this, it's really important to say because, like, for me, I grew up watching fucking.
Okay.
Now I grew up, like, dude, freaking Rambo, or First Blood, First Blood. I love First Blood. I mean, I watched First Blood, and I was like, I want PTSD. Like, that was me as a kid. Like, I watched it, and I'm like, oh, I want to be fucked up like John Rambo. Like, that's not normal. But that's how I was. I watched it, and I was like, I want to get in a fight with the sheriff at the end, And but dude, I mean, it's a staunch anti-war film, and I watched it, and I was like, I want to join the military, right? And then there was a show in the 80s, you guys may or may not have seen it, called Tour of Duty.
Tour of Duty is one of my favorites.
It's got one of the best openings of a show.
Okay.
Painted Black by Rolling Stones.
Okay.
Dude, it's watch the opening of Tour of Duty. It's amazing.
The guy with the spike hair and the mullet was my favorite.
Dude, it's classic. The 60 gunner. Anyway, so I watched that show every week. Tour of Duty. Boom, boom, boom. 80s, right? Yeah. And so, of course, dude, I was I wanted to join. I can show you pictures of myself as a little kid, fucking nerd in camouflage, wearing fucking shit. And I couldn't wait to join. And it did. I don't know why, but I didn't. Season 1, I just, probably because I was doing too many drugs. I don't know. But I didn't freaking remember. I didn't put this together season 1.
Okay.
Season 2. Because the show's now out. And season 2, I start getting hit up by all these kids. And they're I love SEAL Team. I want to join the military. And it just clicks one day during season 2, early in season 2, that I'm like, holy shit, SEAL Team is these kids' tour of duty.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just like clicks in my mind.
How cool is that?
And suddenly, well, it's cool in a way, but on the other side of it, suddenly I have all this responsibility.
Anxiety that comes with it.
And that I had been I have the weight of this responsibility to.
You took it so.
Yeah, I just because I know what it meant to me, tour duty, and so I was like, dude, I gotta do the right thing by these kids or young adults or whatever who are gonna want to join from watching this. And again, that was kind of where I really took on the look. We can show the cool stuff.
Right.
That's fine. Because it is that, as long as we also show the cost,
Right.
The reality.
and the reality, and then it's an authentic recruiting commercial. Because are we going to get people that want to join? Yeah, I watched First Blood, knew the cause or the effect. I knew he was messed up, and I thought that looked cool to me.
Right.
There's something fundamentally wrong with me as a child, which I agree with.
All good.
And 100%. And so that I really, season 2 was when I realized the responsibility of that, and we really started steering it towards, just understanding the impact that it had on a new generation of warfighters.
And
quite frankly,
and to me, you guys personified exactly that. What our modern day age warfighter goes through. It wasn't just that. You were hooked because you wanted to know.
You wanted to win,
what was going on with you guys.
It was more of the for me, when I understood, it wasn't about the war on the battlefield. It was the battlefield at home. And that was like, that's where, because I didn't know that existed. I had no clue. And then when you met the guys, and because we'd always have guys from the unit or
pretty consistently.
People were always there, and then you would talk to them, and then you'd get close to them, and they'd open up about stuff, and you're like, whoa.
And on that note, I said this. I'll give myself credit. I did say this very early on, which is kind of funny, but it's so true. I said, look. I said this to Sarah and Ed and Ben. I said, this is like season 1. I said, look, if the military doesn't hate it, it's a fucking home run. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, just trust me. If the military doesn't hate it, it's a home run.
And everybody starts off when we meet them. I wanted to fucking hate this. I wanted to hate this show.
Oh, dude, yeah, we got it all the time.
And then they're like,
I'm like, dude, we don't need the military to love it. We just need them to not hate it. And if they don't hate it, other people will love it, because it's a high standard to, and it's like, for the military, in my opinion, for the military, you got to do two things at the same time. You got to get the details right. Guns, kit, gear. You got to get that right so they don't go bullshit and tune out.
Toss it out. Yep.
And then at the very same time, you have to have the story is authentic enough to where they also don't call bullshit. That would never happen. Right. That's just not the way it works. Right. All these different things. So there's a lot of detail that you have to get right to get the buy-in from the military. And the amount of times I have heard guys or girls, for that matter, saying, man, like you said, I didn't want to like it, and somehow I ended up caught a piece at the gym.
Or they'd say like, I didn't want to like it, and then my buddy's like, dude, you gotta trust me, you gotta fucking watch it. You have to watch this.
Yeah. And that means the most. And the other thing the other thing that I thought was amazing, debatably my favorite part, was, and I heard this quite often, I'm sure you did, was when you would hear veterans say, you know what? I watch it with my wife, and she understands me better because of it. That's by far we watched it together, and it allowed her to understand things in a way that I couldn't explain. Right. That's that's the biggest compliment I would argue.
It's crazy to think that, it's the most successful military drama of all time.
Yep.
Right, which is crazy, and because it had guns and stuff like that, it didn't get the sort of
the recognition
that it did, from the stunts to the what we did and the time frame that we had to do. I think once it goes to like another streamer like a Netflix, and because it's only ever been on Paramount. It's never how other shows have moved to different.
It got limited, dude.
Yeah,
like
so,
crazy.
So it still has. So I think when it goes,
it'll have a second life.
I think it's going to have a second life because it's still on Paramount. It's still number one.
It is still number. It is.
Yeah,
and
it's
another
crazy.
And another thing, even in the UK, it's huge.
Yeah, it's a very big. Dude, we had a ton of people come visit us from specifically Germany and France, which I assume it's
like there's full on airsoft communities that are Bravo. Full on that I've sent patches to that we sent a thing, and they'll say like, and they're like one guy's son, like it's there. It is, and it is awesome.
Yes,
and let me tell you this, because this was told 1,000 times to me on season 1 of the show. This show, the network, everyone said this. This show will never go anywhere internationally. No one is going to watch this internationally.
Fucking mine said that.
Yeah, well, here I'll tell you the reason right now. No one is going to watch this internationally because no one overseas gives a shit about watching the American military.
What?
Quote.
Can I say something?
That is a quote.
So I was born and partially raised in Istanbul, Turkey. And
we're going there. We have to talk to you after.
Yes.
We're going there, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I just out of high school, and I moved here. I'm 41, so it's been 20 years. I'm telling you right now, anybody who tells that, they don't know what they're talking about.
Dude,
we watched when I was growing up, and to this day, I got my family there.
Yeah.
They watch American military and police
Commando.
movies
Yeah.
all
the
the
time.
time,
Yeah.
more than Turkish ones.
Dude, when I was in, this is a true story, 100% true story. When I was in Iraq, we had an Iraqi interpreter that spoke English with an Austrian accent.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because he learned English by watching Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Holy crap, that is
cool. He had an
That's a
Iraqi.
mindfuck.
He had an Iraqi Austrian accent. I can't even. I'm not.
I want
to
run into an
actor
Iraqi person that watched SEAL Team and talks like Sonny Quinn. It's like,
dude, it was.
Where's my goat?
It was amazing, but and dude, they all said it, and I was just like, but you know what that goes to show you though. It goes to show you how I'm just so over, dude. Hollywood doesn't know, and I'll prove it to you. I can prove it that Hollywood doesn't know. If Hollywood knew, if they were so smart and they knew, nothing would ever fail. The fact that things fail prove that they don't know any better than the four of us. Right. In fact, I would argue they definitively know worse, and here's why.
Okay.
Because they don't watch anything. Dude, you talk to anyone at the high level in Hollywood, they're not at home watching TV. They don't watch that stuff.
And I think too, when you can just commit to telling the story and not worry about trying to please everybody, just tell the fucking story.
Right.
Yeah. What's the story?
Just what's the story? What's the why? Why are the characters doing that? And be unapologetic about the story. Tell your that story, because in life your story isn't for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So and that's the beautiful thing.
Some people are going to hate you. Some people are going to love you.
And the same people. There's. I think you said
If
this.
you try and be everything to everyone, you will be nothing to no one.
Yeah,
That's
so
true.
And
Period.
I think where Hollywood gets it wrong is they're so worried that somebody's going to be upset about something that they dumb it down it becomes this muted,
Meaningless.
because you'll read the script and you're like, this is awesome, and then when it gets there, you're like, some executive, like, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about this.
Well, we
and
need to
you're
make sure we play to this people and
and
these
I will
people.
give
and these people.
our show credit to our showrunners and stuff. They went to battle, and we stayed true.
We never,
Yeah.
and we said this
Chris
day
Chulak
one.
was a real-
we never tried to say anything political
Ever.
not
Because
one way or the
soldiers
other.
are nonpartisan.
And the
Right.
whole
Yeah.
point was, and I pushed this really hard. I said, you know why? Like, because it doesn't matter to us. It doesn't matter what the politics are. I still got to do what they tell me to do, and I still got to do what's best for me in that moment to get home. I don't care about I mean, I care, but I also don't care because it's outside of my sphere of control.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if we make this show about the team on the ground, and we just show how the team operates and how the team is affected, and we never make statements outside of the team, it'll be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was.
And there it is.
And I think the biggest defining moment in that for you guys keeping that authenticity was when you guys actually switched over to the Paramount Plus.
100%.
And I remember it's like a leash was taken off, and it got even more grittier, and it got even more real. And to me,
I mean, we
My
did
first-
talk shit about officers. We did do that.
My first line on Paramount Plus, is no joke, was "Eat a bag of dicks."
dicks. Yeah, on the train.
Which,
I remember that.
Which, by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, I know him very well. That ain't a Sonny Quinn line. That's an AJ Buckley
I
line.
say it all the time.
100%.
That was great. I would say
that's AJ Buckley.
I would improvise every once in a while.
Okay.
Constantly.
Yeah.
AJ is the king of improv. I can tell you right now, for every line that AJ said on that show, there were 3 that were funnier that couldn't be used.
Please tell me that some of the jokes that you would call people nicknames
Constantly.
would be.
Every
all
single
up.
one.
I'd
Every
fucking
single
do
one.
it. I'd
He made
fucking
up.
do
He made up every
I
single
was
one.
trying to get people, like, if they were covering like Max or somebody, I would just call them like, "What's up, Jack?
Golden Boy,
I was like,
Goldilocks.
Yeah, like, look at the lips on you, you fucking sexy bitch." Like I would just try to get him to laugh in this because he's doing a really serious scene, and I'd be saying it like in my thing quietly, and he'd be like, "What the fuck?" He's doing?
But that is so realistic,
Yeah,
though.
just to kind of,
Yeah.
and that was the brotherhood. And
That
then
is
it
how it
started
is.
And then I saw they started working, and I was like, well, I'm going to keep doing it. But then it allowed, and when Tyler had said too, and even some of the guys, they were like, "Oh no, we're cracking jokes sometimes just to break the fucking." It's like this,
Especially
in
if
this
it's
most
a bad
serious moment,
situation.
a weird zinger will come through, and everybody's like, "What the fuck?" And then you laugh, and then you're back in the fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Former law enforcement here, not military. When you were
Same,
in
though.
the car,
Same
when
sense
you were
of humor, same
going on
everything.
op, right?
Yeah.
You start giving each other shit, like
No,
you're just
constantly.
Yeah.
joking around, like you're
Constantly.
about to go.
Yeah.
You start
When the
laughing,
situation
joking.
when the situation is that serious, you go out of your way to make it less serious. You make jokes. You don't make it more serious. You
Like a
start
pressure
cracking
release valve,
jokes.
just to-
And I think I don't know. This is a tough question. If somebody put a gun to my head and said, "What's your favorite AJ Buckley improvised line?" I don't know. The one that I just thought was really funny, and I'll just never forget it, was Kick Rock's Nerd.
Yeah.
Oh, with the
It's like-
Dude,
Yes.
I laughed. I remember that scene so well.
after
It was cold.
cutting open the
It was
ISR that
cold.
crashed.
It was cold
Kick fucking
as
rocks, nerd. I remember
Yeah,
that shit.
Yeah, Kick
I
Rocks
remember
Nerd.
that.
I remember that.
Yeah,
It was
used to-
cold.
yeah.
That night was cold as shit. Blue
She just
Cloud,
looked
Blue
she
Cloud
just looked
Range.
like a little nerd, and I was like, "What would a bully say to that?"
Oh,
He'd walk in like, "Kick rocks, nerd. Get out of my way."
That was
Yeah.
That's what's up.
classic.
cool.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Classic AJ.
And,
Damn.
and going in from that, the show, how many of those experiences, because we talk about passing on a lot of guys doing not only just playing the characters, but also doing some of the directing duties between David and yourself, and even Max
Yeah.
directing
Two.
some.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah. Like,
One and Max was so sick for one. I felt so bad.
Tyler was the very first veteran not in the DGA to direct network television and never directed anything in his life.
Right.
I went from zero to network TV
And
episode.
it was cool to see because Tyler Natchez is a storyteller, and he was so embedded. And then Jimmy Murray was like, "Hey, I need you to go shoot second unit." And then you start seeing him do other things, and because he was able to. What the key of a tech advisor, and it's a hard thing to understand. You have to be able to convey your knowledge from the military and implement it into what the story is being told. Because you can work with some tech advisors, and they're like, "Well, why would do this?" And you're like, "But they're not in the context of
Right.
one. What the cameras is only seeing is this.
Right.
So it's irrelevant if I'm like they're only seeing this. So in the moment of what the camera's seeing, and I need to know what the camera's seeing, and that's the fucking tricky part. And once you can understand that this is, I remember having a conversation with Scotty Fox, and he was like, oh, "This looks all crazy." And then I think it was you or somebody's like, "No, Scotty, look at the monitor." And Scotty was like,
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Oh.
Like I'll give.
"Because you didn't understand
You
that
understand
you're
it.
only seeing."
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I'll give you a great military example of what he just said. Is you look at let's say you're moving and you're in open terrain,
Yeah.
and you're moving in a wedge.
Okay.
What's the spacing?
2 men or 4 foot every time.
5 meters.
5 meters.
Book
Yeah,
answer
5 meters.
is a 5 meter spacing
Yeah.
grenade range.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah,
So
5
it's a
meters.
5 meter spacing wedge.
Right.
Right. So technically,
Right.
if you had a 4-man team, you'd be across 20 meters.
Meters wide.
That's
Right.
what it should be. With some wide spacing, so
Correct.
you're not just online. You'd be like this.
Correct.
All right. That's book answer.
Right.
Now you put it on camera. If you put that spacing, there'll be one dude in frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
wouldn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So what do I have to
and
do?
You lose the narrative, you lose the emotion because you're so wide.
So I have to take a 5 meter spacing wedge formation, and I have to put it in that frame, and I just have to do enough spacing to where you can see the wedge. So the spacing might be 2 meters,
Right.
and it's still a wedge.
perspective.
But if you don't do it that way, it'll look wrong.
Is that why all
Even
those
though
shots
it's wrong.
We're,
So-
we're done like high
Well,
angles?
no, it's just
why?
I'm tailoring it.
Okay.
Every single shot.
Give you perspective
yeah.
of that because that would be the eyes of Judd's character.
Okay.
Right? So the eyes
Right.
are, and that was another way that they were able to tell the story, which was a brilliant way. What Mandy and
Right.
Davis
Yeah.
and
Their perspective.
and their
Right.
perspective
Their
is seeing
POV.
us. So it allowed it to break. The only time we
Our
broke
perspective.
was
Okay.
to see theirs.
Okay.
So that gave the audience this sort of 360 view of incoming enemy, and they would relate to that, and then we get down to the ground, and then the thing would come around the corner, and that's how it was a genius way that they designed that thing. I was like, when I started to see it all come together, I was like, oh wow, goddamn, that's
It's a way to get overhead shots
Yeah.
organically. That's
Right.
not
with- 'cause
artificial.
nothing that there was no cameras put in place that wasn't from somebody on the teams, whether they were at
HQ Havoc.
or they were on the ground. That you was seeing it.
It was all
somebody's
organic.
POV.
Yeah, it was all
So it was a
organic.
real trick. And once you kind of wrap your head around that, now when you go back and watch the show, you're like, oh motherfucker, it's a crazy thing.
Shit.
And no other show's ever done that, which is really cool.
So that's why. So it's like every single shot, I'm having to tailor what they're doing to that frame.
make
Not
it-
to the reality, but to the frame that the audience is seeing.
To see consistency.
Because if I play it as reality, it'll look like shit.
And we'd be
Right.
like, hey, we want to try to do this,
And-
and they'd be like, it's not gonna.
And
it's not
dude,
gonna
the amount of time, what I'm looking at, there was multiple times where what I'm looking at outside of camera looks ridiculous.
Like dogs. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this makes me want to jump off a building. There's a
Right.
couple times where I was like,
Okay.
I remember Scotty
but
Fox
in
was
camera,
pissed off. He was like, dude, this
but
is
in
what's
camera,
Wow.
in camera, it works. Like I remember there was a time in particular. This is probably our worst episode of reality, and it was because we lost a location. It was with Michael Watkins, and we lost a location. We were supposed to film at Camp Pendleton, and we lost the location, so we had to film in another, and it
Nothing
did not work.
Okay.
But anyway, I swear to God. You can't tell in camera, but in reality, dude, us and the bad guys are like 10 yards away shooting each other.
Okay.
And I was like, this makes me want to take a shower. This looks so dirty.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, we cannot show the
But we
wides
lost
of
the
this.
location on the 11th hour. Like the
Yeah, like
Teamsters-
right
the
before-
Teamsters- the Teamsters are going out there,
Yeah.
and they're like, Pendleton was like,
yeah, nope, can't film. So we got screwed, and
Wow.
it's our worst episode in authenticity because we're just on top of each other. The action was written to the terrain, and we didn't have time to rewrite the action to the new terrain. So we're like on top of each other.
Okay.
And I was like,
adapt and overcome.
and I'm like, and I'm like, dude, this looks so bad. And I just told, I talked to Chris Chulak. I'm like, we just can't use the wides. It'll look ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so also with the show, I mean, and by the way, every single day that we were shooting, just so you know how the process works, every day that we're shooting, we are writing the next 4 episodes. We are editing the last 2 to 3.
Damn.
We're prepping the next one and in post-production on the last one.
Shit.
Every single day of filming. So every single day that, and I'll make myself look, not to make myself look busy, but like every single day I'm on camera. I'm also advising, on
The next.
writing the next episodes early
or
on, or I'm talking about editing the last
or you were
episode.
directing and acting in the scene that he's
I
directing.
I straight burned myself out.
Shit.
I walked away and did a movie called Kandahar because I burnt myself out so bad, and that's all on me. It was my fault. I should have taken time for myself, and I didn't, and I burnt myself out bad, man. I gave too much to the show, and just like I said, didn't say no. I remember there's an episode on Jimmy's episode on the train, which I think is one of the first Paramount Plus episodes.
Yes, because it was split in 2.
If you watch it, you will see me sleeping on the train.
Shut
If
up.
you watch it, you will see me on the train.
Oh, you're sitting there in the chair.
I'm asleep. So here's the funny part of that story. I had just directed an episode, and it was a busy episode. I just directed it, and then I'm working, 16, 17-hour days for, and then I'm editing at night. Shit. And then I get done on Friday, and they're like, all right, Monday morning, you're on camera. So I have no break. So I show up on Monday. I was editing the episode at night. So, dude, I was sleeping like 2 hours a night. So I'm in the train, and I fell asleep, in the scene.
Wow.
So if you see me asleep, I'm actually asleep.
How long does it take to film an episode?
7 to 8 days.
A season?
But I would say this.
Every episode is 7 to 8 days.
I would say this. Okay, if you look at The Boys, they have 3 weeks to shoot one episode.
Yeah, we shot 7 to 8 days.
And sometimes we did episodes in 6 days. We did episodes in 6 days.
Yeah.
So a season's got, what, 8 episodes?
10.
We started off
10 to
at-
22.
We started at 22.
22.
Yeah.
And then after COVID, we came back.
We did 22, 22, 20 because we lost 2 episodes off that. We did 14, then we did 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool. So okay, so you guys finished that, and I know you got 2 Fake Seals show going on.
Yeah,
other
the show, the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and any other TV movie stuff?
I got a couple movies coming out. I just finished this awesome movie with Mel Gibson.
Oh, shit.
Dude, how cool is that?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was.
damn.
I gotta tell you, man, one of the coolest human beings I've ever met in my life.
I love him. I
Dude,
freaking love him. Man.
He
Legend.
is. What's so cool about him? He's very aware that
He's Mel Gibson.
that the people, he has a presence about him, but he's very aware that people would get nervous, in a scene, especially the day players. Day players are people that come in and have one scene with him.
Okay.
And they're like, oh my God, it's Mel Gibson. When I did my first scene with him, I was like, it's fucking William Wallace. Like, I'm doing a scene with William Wallace. And he could tell I was.
With William Wallace.
Yeah, he was like, hey man, it's good. And I'm like, but I knew what he was saying. He's like, we got it. And then I was like, cool. But then he was so gentle and kind to the other actors. Where guys at that level, they can be such dicks. And as they always say, like, Mel Gibson is like some of my favorite movies of all time. Braveheart. Right? And,
Braveheart's so good. It's ridiculous.
All these, but
Braveheart is.
and they say never meet your
Ridiculous.
heroes. And I was praying to God that I'm like, I just want him. It would have crushed me. And he was above and beyond one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. Just kind, so good to the crew. Just stayed
Such a good
for
director
coverage.
too. Such a good director.
Again, he's been around. He doesn't have to. If he wants to just leave, he could. They'll just. But
Dude, he made like $1 billion on Passion of the Christ.
He
made a
just
fortune.
and then hearing stories of like how he got Robert Downey sober, right?
Wow.
He was the reason that Robert Downey got sober. So Robert Downey was like
He ironed out Iron Man.
and that was.
Dad joke.
Yeah.
Good God, open a window.
So Brad, and then Brad Pitt and Bradley Cooper and like all these. So it's like he's just done. Yeah, everybody makes a mistake in the past, and the thing that pisses me off about Hollywood is they're so hard to forgive.
Okay.
And people can make mistakes. Fuck it, everybody's made mistakes. Nobody's perfect, right? But the man's done so much good to other people. He's selfless. He's super, religious. He's sober for 20-something odd years. Like, and just hearing you story, he's so open and candid about it. And any question, once I knew I could fanboy every single day and ask every fucking question of every shot and he would sit there for 20 minutes on one question and explain it to me, to the point where like, the AD would be like, hey, why don't you set? And he'd go, one set, and he'd finish the story. And he never got tired of telling me stories. He was like a guy that I would want to go fishing with every day. It was a dream come true, and it was a guy that I just, like Lethal Weapon, all these things. And I just asked him so many questions about like The Shining and like just different things, and he was like, oh, wow, like, you know my movies. And I'm like, yeah, you're my fucking guy. Oh, wow. So, but just a good dude. So that movie comes out, and they got another movie, Bark, coming out, which is it's a sort of it's a two-man horror suspense thriller. Okay. Just two actors, and it's sort of a whodunit. Guy starts off, the guy's tied to a tree, and he doesn't know how he got there, and then.
Dude, I love horror movies.
Yeah. Holy shit.
It's my
like a
freaking
suspense
favorite.
horror. It's really good. Yeah. That movie we shot for $300,000 in Germany. We shot it in 9 days.
A whole movie?
The whole movie. And it got put on the top 10 lists of movies that you haven't seen yet for 2020.
What's the name of it?
It's called Bark.
Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it.
It's awesome. It was one of those things. It was a play. It was just two actors, same location for the entire fucking movie.
Shit.
And it was literally like we learned my very first scene. I flew from wherever we were. And
I remember. Yeah.
Landed. I think Jordan. Flew from Jordan. Landed. And my first scene on the film, because I was like, it was down to the last day. If you can't get there here, we can't do the movie with you. So I land in Hamburg, drive to set, and the first scene I had was 24 pages.
Jesus.
It was a play.
First scene.
24 pages.
Actually, I remember. I remember
it was
you.
20, because it's a fucking.
AJ's a freak in nature though when it comes to memorizing stuff.
Yeah,
He'll just be like,
I'll look. It's crazy.
Right.
Like I kind of don't like. I have my way with. They have a guy with me that run the lines, but like once I can't read. Truly, true as God, I can't. I have dyslexic and I can't fucking read. I've never read a book. I have to hear everything. Okay. So if it's read to me or if I hear the scene done, then I can. Once I hear it and I can identify things. It's fun. Books on tape changed my life. I'm obsessed with.
Same here, dude.
Audiobooks, I'm just like,
all the time.
And especially if it's someone that's a good narrator.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, it can tell the story. But so yeah, I don't know where I lost my thought, but basically,
Mel Gibson.
Your movies.
So Bark, and it was 24 pages, but when the writing's good, it's easy to get up there and do it. But that movie is really good. And then I have something that I sold. I can't talk about right now, but I sold my very first show. Oh shit! Based on a book.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's my very first, and it's something I'm proud of. I'll talk when I can talk about it, I'll come back on and talk about it because this is
okay.
Because it's a whole story of this is.
It's a great story.
I've produced some things in the past, but this is one that I did on my own.
Okay.
And I did it at such a high level, and I don't know how I did it. I just fucking was fearless and went after it, and for the first time they were like, well, they bought it in the room. And I'm like, what? And that's never happened. That was probably like my 100th try of doing it. And I've been part of things with groups of people, but never where I've put it together.
Wow.
So this is I'm fucking pumped. Like this is a whole and I admittedly to the show I'm like I'm a student of this game. I just want to watch you. I want to learn how to do this. So
okay.
It's an exciting time for me behind the camera to really to learn and to observe and get this opportunity at this level to tell stories.
So how do people find your projects? Whatever updates about your life, AJ.
AJ Buckley.
Instagram or something?
Instagram is there, and then Facebook. I don't have an OnlyFans yet. I'm thinking about opening one.
We have one. Me and Ryan.
Do you really?
I'll subscribe.
We'll help you out.
I'm not gonna lie. I fucking bleach my butthole, and I would. Someone
is that covered by insurance?
$25. You want to see the fucking onion?
Yeah.
The Irish onion.
Pre
Why do you have to bleach? Wait.
Tyler nicknamed it the Irish onion.
Why do you have to bleach a butthole when you have that bidet? That's like $900.
Bro,
that's how you clean it prior to bleaching it. Yeah.
You put bleach in the hose. Not too much. You do like a 60-70 ratio of water to of bleach. So a little sting, a little burn.
Yeah.
You don't have,
Enough
like,
to
if you-
bleach, not enough to
Bad
burn.
mix is if you have like Thai food the night before. Spicy food in Thailand is called pet pet. So if you have pet pet and you sit on the bidet, it hits the bleach thing.
I got a good marketing strategy on OnlyFans. We'll talk about that.
I'm in.
Yeah,
Dude,
for
I would
sure.
do it. Show my wife. She's got great feet. We could make so much money on your feet.
Great feet.
Oh my God.
Well,
Totally kidding, guys. Totally kidding. Unless you're
AJ Buckley
serious.
on Instagram. He's
not kidding.
Instagram, Facebook, AJ Buckley, OnlyFans.
Oh my God.
Whatever else.
Feet Finder coming
the
soon.
Irish Onion on OnlyFans.
Oh no.
That's the
Dude, that's gotta be a
username.
name.
That's the username.
God.
That's the username.
What about you, Tyler?
Yeah, well,
they find
to find me, Tyler A. Gray on Instagram. I don't know what my Facebook is. We can find that. And then
What's the OnlyFans?
OnlyFans is the non-Irish butthole or non-Irish. Actually, I'm
American
Irish.
Onion.
What am I talking about? No, so yeah, that's social media, and then obviously Two Fake Seals.
Yes.
That's
on
what I want to
Instagram.
talk-
Yeah, Two Fake Seals,
Yeah.
and then the podcast and the show that we'll be releasing on YouTube and maybe somewhere else. We'll see that. We'll update that.
Is there Instagram for that one too? Two Fake Seals?
Two Fake
Yes.
Seals is the Instagram. Yeah,
Instagram,
it'll be
YouTube.
the YouTube as well, and
Okay.
I think something else. But and then I just sold a project, which I'm kind of where AJ is. I can't.
This is really big. Like
It's
huge.
It's
really
I'm
huge.
super excited
Massive.
about it. I sold it, and
Just give it
when I can
right
talk
there.
about it, I'd love to talk about it. It's
Massive.
the opportunity of a lifetime,
Wow.
and I'm just hoping that it all.
Like super, like you say,
all
super
happens.
A-list at the highest level.
Okay.
We'll
Can't
see.
wait to see
I'm
it.
very excited about the. It's
Maybe off camera you can tell us.
It's telling a movie that like all veterans, and I mean all veterans,
Okay.
would be like, yes. Like
Okay.
that's the story all veterans want to tell, and I won't give any more than that. But it's like it's the most obvious story in the world, and I think we told it really well.
About your book.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I actually have a book coming out, Forged in Chaos, which will be coming out
And I will tell you this as
this year,
as a friend,
or
I'm not
sorry,
just-
this
hype
this
man
summer.
right now. It is. It's so fucking brave of this guy to go as a man to tell like Tyler's Tyler's
Yes.
a fucking bad motherfucker. No. And no, I don't think I've read a book that of a dude admitting where the things in his life are and how the road of like what he's done to try and do it. I think the honesty of even though it made me reflect in my own life of just like going, oh man, like I got to put some work in, and I was super proud of it, and this dude like
It's
poured
basically
he
about
put
all
his
the
heart-
things that I messed up.
yeah,
which there's a
But
lot of.
There's zero. He does not hold back. He tells.
Yeah, no,
everything.
it's pretty
It's as
self.
honest, yeah.
I'm definitely not going to come out of it looking like a good person.
Well, that's being authentic.
Which was the intent. The intent was not to sugarcoat myself. The intent was to tell the authentic story of my life and the mistakes that I've made, with the intent and what I figured out from that and how I've become a better person, with the hopeful intent that other people would read my story and go, dude, I've made the same mistakes.
Yeah.
I've fallen into the same traps, and hopefully they can use the lessons that I've learned from the mistakes I made to either help themselves not make those mistakes,
Yeah.
or accept that they make those mistakes and move forward. Because I think
and it's okay if you make a mistake and you fucking own it and put
Yeah.
the best foot forward after.
absolutely,
Fucking God bless
absolutely,
you, man. Fucking
we
fair.
all mess a ton of shit
Right.
up, and it's
But
all
to admit
human.
it on such a public level,
Right.
that's like it's fucking awesome.
you got to put yourself out there, and I think in order to help others, and
And it's not just not to cut you off, but what it doesn't. It's about being a man and just like
Right.
Yeah.
and like owning up to your shit and trying to figure out how to fucking make inside work.
yeah,
Is there an audio version of this one or no? Is that going to be?
there
I'm
will
gonna-
be.
I'm
I
gonna narrate it.
'Cause-
it's funny. I
Not
just
your ass. You got a freaking awesome.
I
awesome
just
voice.
dude,
Oh my God.
I-
That'd be hilarious.
I just had a guy tell me that I should narrate it. I didn't want to, but I don't know.
You
We'll
should
see.
That'd be kind of dope.
I think
I
you
didn't
should.
want to
kinda
do
dope.
it, and then
Maybe
he
you
was
could
like,
hear
"No,
the
you should
emotion.
I like it
definitely
when,
do
when,
it."
when guys like
I can go either way
Brad
on it
does
right
it.
now.
It's like and because it's you.
I
Tyler.
felt weird talking about. I didn't want to do it because I felt weird talking about myself. But then he made the argument like, yeah, but you really have to tell it.
But it's
your
like
way.
telling
And
a
I'm like,
story. You could feel when you actually narrate it. We can probably hear the emotion.
yeah.
The texture, especially when it gets into the emotional stuff.
Right.
You're gonna be locked in that booth for
just-
fucking 5-6 hours. You're gonna relive it. It's gonna evoke real emotion.
100%.
It was,
You're
dude. It
gonna
was
feel
it was
it.
a very uncomfortable process.
But what a
can
beautiful
tell you that.
name, though. Forged in Chaos.
It's
Yeah.
fucking
I
awesome.
freaking love it. Man, I wish we had some. I'd have loved to have your signature on it.
No,
But maybe
No, I'll.
It hasn't gone to print yet, so
No, yeah, it hasn't come to print yet.
it's
We're actually the
Can't wait.
pre-release will come actually next month in February.
Love to read that. And there was a Chase Hughes. He's a neuroscientist. He's like, you guys heard it?
yeah.
He said something that I thought was really cool about being authentic, right? So if you ask anybody, it's like, how authentic are you on a scale of 1 to 10? You know, which one is more authentic? The guy says like 8, or the guy who says 3. Obviously, the guy who says 3 is being more authentic because he's just telling you 3 because I feel like I have to do this, I have to do that to kind of. He's being authentic right there. But the guy who's 8, well, he's already not being authentic.
Yeah, I mean, I would even make the argument that even the concept of rating yourself on an authentic scale is impossible
Right.
because you're not capable of being aware of your own level of authenticity. You know, whatever you're trying, whatever number you come up with is your projection of what you want it to be, not the reality of what it really is. You know, and it's it's really difficult to it's impossible, I should say, to truly be objective about yourself. And it's like with my with the book, my story, it's like so interesting because the parts of your life that you think are interesting, other people mean nothing to. And parts of my life, which has happened, by the way, that I was like were meaningless, didn't mean anything to me. And I only put it in the book because, someone's like, no, you should put that in there. And I'm like, that's not important, but whatever, fine, I'll do it. That's the part where people are like, dude, that meant a lot. And I'm like, you are not a good gauge on what is important to other people about
If you
your
look at
story.
your world like this, you can't see, and that's I think where good friends and stuff can are your eyes.
Right.
You can help see that world. We all see our world like that.
Right. And it's our own echo chamber.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to us, it's like, irrelevant. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's why if somebody wants to put out their story, I've had people ask me, dude, I've been working on a book about myself. I'm like, dude, just put everything in
Brain
it
dump.
because you don't know what is important to others about your story.
Right.
And by the way, you're the worst gauge of it. I'll
Right.
tell you right now. I did a documentary and this book, and I've been surprised so many times by what resonated with people on parts that I thought were not interesting or not relevant or
Dude,
whatever.
I
So
can't wait to read that book.
no, I'm psyched about it. I'm very proud of it because I know how the lessons that I put in there have helped me, and I'm very confident that they're going to help others.
And I'll ask you a question off camera.
Yeah.
And that's got to be
5 inches, but it's thick.
wow. And that's got to be
It was like
super
that. It was like that.
super healing in the process. wow.
I love it.
Just being honest.
All right, well, I mean, hey.
He's been authentic.
It's
authentic.
super authentic.
That's a 10 out of 10 authentic.
Especially that's got to be like super healing in the instance of just kind of going through and
I was
almost
a-
making peace with yourself.
It
you
was
know?
a crazy process. I to be honest with you, I honestly didn't really think it would be that big a deal. I'm like, none of that shit means anything to me. I'm like, whatever.
Well,
I'm over it.
You look different after you're done. Like you look like your weight was
Dude,
lifted off. Like,
That's awesome.
Going
Just this,
through, I mean, talking for 16 hours about one period in your life, dude, by the time I was done and then the editing, going back and forth, I mean, I'm shocked at how much residual, let me say it differently. It was obvious that when I went through this process, it was obvious that I had brushed over parts of my life and not had an appropriate emotional reaction to entire chunks of my life. And the fact that, like, now, to be, again, perfectly honest, I don't really want to go back and do the voice thing. I don't really
you don't want to
wanna-
relive it.
Yeah, you don't wanna relive it.
it's like now it's out of my head, and I just don't want to go there again.
You released it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really
Or he's
honestly,
hiding it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I should be, in my opinion, at a point where I go back and read it and there is nothing there. But realistically, I'm just not there, which tells me is probably why I need to do it.
Here's what I want to say about that. Way back when I was a local guy, some old guy said that, hey, you know, some of this stuff, because, you know, I've seen really bad stuff, really, you know, people die in our hands and we're doing, anyways. Okay, you know, some of this stuff, you know, for you maybe tomorrow, for you maybe 5 years later, for you maybe 15 years later, some things come up later. Never thought about it. When things happen, when I was doing things, to me, I was like, okay, that's bad. And I go home, shut it down, right? I wouldn't think about it again. And I go back again, dead kids, that's this. Horrible feeling. You think about it for a couple of days. You just move on. Just keep doing your thing. Fast forward to crazy. Like, I've been out of the government, federal government, like, almost 4 years now. Less than 6 months ago, I got nothing going on. I'm just at home, just watch TV a little bit, just lay down. Panic attack out of the blue. I had never had experienced that in my life. Like, out of the blue, I just start, whoa, what's going on to me? I wouldn't even know what, I didn't even know what was going on, and a lot of things just came to me, like real bad, real dark. I just had to leave the house, just go for a walk. I couldn't, you know, if I was in there, I was just kind of losing it. And I just started thinking about certain things that I never thought about before, which was from
that time period.
Reared its head again.
It just came out of the blue. And I always, and I will be honest, I always just hit things. It's like,
that's what men do.
Yeah.
We push it to the side. I'm good.
Yeah, I always did that. And holy crap.
I have a term for it, and my term for my saying, I should say. My saying is, emotions will be present. Emotions will not leave until properly felt. An emotion will not leave your body until it is given proper attention and is properly felt.
Wow.
Until you properly feel an emotion, it will dwell in the body and it'll never go away.
Wow.
It's been my experience. Then once you give it the attention that it wants, now again, where does that come from? Emotion is there to teach you something.
Right.
So if you don't learn the lesson from it, if you don't give it its proper attention, it's going to stay there swimming around in your body, not necessarily in your mind, but in your body.
Wow.
And it will resurface. At some point, it'll come up, it'll rear its head. And again, if you can push it down a certain amount of times, but until you adequately feel that emotion, it will not go away.
Andrew Huberman said that. A neuroscientist, he does a lot of podcasts. He said somebody was going through a breakup, so he asked a question. He was reading that. He's like, dude, the best way to get over a breakup is you got to sit there and look at that picture, cry, just feel it. Feel all of it. Yeah. If you just say, hey, I'm good, let's hook up. I'm going to hook up with other chicks. I'm going to go party with my boys.
You got to exercise the demon.
That's right.
Yeah.
I never did that. Like, I was the worst. Yeah, that was. I made that mistake so many times. Like, I mean, I went through a really bad breakup, and I pushed everything from that, and it was bad. I mean, it broke my brain.
Yeah.
And I pushed that down for years and never went through. And I never even went through. I didn't even go to therapy. I didn't even do talk therapy, like the lowest level of it. And it sat with me for 8 years. Didn't go away. And time heals all wounds is horse shit.
Right.
It does not.
How did that leave you? And how did it end? How did it end after 8 years?
It ended after 8 years. I mean, you know, I definitely came to certain terms to a degree, but it wasn't until I basically, after 8 years, decided to actually pay attention to that pain that it then started processing and going away. The ignoring it for 8 years just led to absolute destruction. And I hurt a lot of girls because I was hurting.
Gotcha.
Straight up. I hurt a lot of good women because I was hurting. And again, obviously I wasn't doing that intentionally. I wasn't aware of it. But hurt people hurt people.
That's real shit.
It is real.
That's real shit.
Emotionally hurt. We're not talking.
Emotionally, yeah.
Not physically.
Not
physically.
Let's put a disclaimer right there.
physically.
We get it.
Very important
God
to
knows
note.
who's watching this.
Yes. No. Yes. Very
Emotionally.
good point. Thank you, sir.
And in
Key.
saying that, you recently just got engaged.
No, not yet. But no, we just took pictures that
name?
apparently look like engagement pictures. 'Cause
my bad.
Everyone says that to me. And
I'm like, what are you waiting for, Tyler?
Yeah, no,
Let's
this year.
Deal with that emotion.
Wait, you guys got engaged?
Yes, of course. No, we got
am
married
a
long
power
ago.
bottom.
See,
An old Irish onion, baby.
Scares me that he knows that term. I don't even know what that means. But no, not yet. Okay. But yeah, the pictures do look apparently like engagement pictures.
I feel like Sade was playing.
You're
like
not the first.
Like Enya was going on. Like you know what I'm saying? Waves crashing and shit. Yeah. There's a dove coming in.
It will happen sometime. In the very near future. Girl. Yeah, she's the best. She's
awesome,
bro. I
awesome.
finally found my person, and it's changed my life, like legitimately, and that's actually all in the book.
That's what's
up. I can't wait till I see that too.
It's dude, it's.
There's hope he's out there.
Yeah, I tell you, once it
happens,
happens,
I'll take anything.
Once it happens, you just look back and you go, man, it's just so. You can't conceptualize it until it happens, and then it just, you know what? If there's anything that you need to remember, it's that, remember that Australian breakdancer, Ray Gunn? You remember her? You ever seen video of her husband?
No.
Okay.
Dude, watch it.
Really?
Watch her husband. Watch her husband dance. Watch
He's
them
just
interact.
so into her.
They are the same person. They are the male and female equipped. She and him dance the exact same. That's where he came from. My point being is there's somebody for, if those two people are two peas in a pot, they are built for each other. Right. And you go, there is somebody for everyone. Right. And you just think of it this way, logically, what I'm about to say. If you're looking for rare, by definition, wouldn't that take time?
Right.
Yeah.
If you're looking for common's all over the place. Yeah. But rare is going to take time to find. Right. And if you're looking for super rare, then it's going to take even longer. Okay. And for me, it took 45 years until I met my 1 in a billion.
And what we're going to do on Two Fake Seals, we're going to have a therapy session in there.
Yes.
Dr. Phil is going to be in the back of the fucking truck.
You're Dr. Phil.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
Dude, I got last question
on
my end. Why are you guys going to Istanbul?
We're working out the dates now, kind
details.
of.
Why?
Why? Sorry.
There's
why? When?
Clinic hospital thing over there. We're going to shoot some content and.
I'm coming with.
And on a complete side note,
I'm not joking.
My co-author lives in Istanbul with her husband.
Yeah, there's some hospitals there, and it's a medical thing, and we're going to shoot some content and go over there. We've never been, so.
I mean, Jason knows. Everybody knows. That's.
Yeah, he's there like every.
I want to do that because we want to shoot. I want to do like the hot air balloon things and do all that.
It's in Cappadocia.
Yeah.
I mean, besides Classic, I got my own social media.
Yeah,
it is in Turkish.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of business. I do a lot of classes with all those influencers over there.
Well, let's talk. Maybe
my movie thing is actually in Turkey. I actually will be in the main cast of Turkey's biggest action movie. It's going to be the 3rd one.
That's awesome. Great.
Yeah, literally. So I know all of those actors over there.
Yeah.
So I was
think it's sometime in February. Will we be there in February?
Is it February or March?
March.
When March? I will be there.
I don't think it's February.
It's early March.
It's March.
I remember.
Is it early March?
Sometime in March. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll look.
So here's the deal.
Just talking.
We're going to Germany.
Details, yeah.
Me and Ryan are going to Germany for a show, like a European shot show, but it ends at
Iwa.
Iva.
Yeah.
March 4th. And then I go.
Yeah. I've been there before.
Where you guys coming?
Abe was literally talking about this today in the car.
Yeah.
You guys coming to Iva?
Theoretically,
yeah.
So Nuremberg.
We'll exchange information after.
If we're doing it, it'll be awesome to meet over there.
Yeah.
No, I literally will be going to Eva with Ryan.
If you're in Istanbul and you're from Istanbul, we're definitely hanging out, bro.
We're hanging out, and I know everybody there.
Listen.
So
there's not a spot of Turkey that you could walk around with this dude, and not people aren't like stopping in the street.
Really? Yeah.
Like swear to you.
Let's do it.
Nice.
Do you know how fun?
He is Turkey's Antonio Banderas.
Assassins.
No, literally, I know
Antonio
everybody there,
Banderas.
and they know me. So we know each other.
What's in the guitar?
I do play the guitar too.
Yeah.
See?
I really do play the guitar.
See?
I do not sing, but I like.
Everyone from
Do
Turkey.
you do like the flamingo dancing shit?
I don't do any
I
of
can
that.
see you like a row, like a fucking.
That's Jason.
Like
no,
the
no.
get up. What's that called? Like the with the
I am
the
the
ponytail.
master.
That's not.
That's
is that
a flamingo dancer, I think.
You know,
shoot
you
guns.
know with the bull, and they do that. with
That-
the.
Oh God.
It's
That's
that
not
dance?
Turkey, dude. That's like
That is like
Mexico.
some-
That is definitely Spain.
Or
That's
Spain,
Spain.
yeah.
Yeah,
We do it with
but it's
goats.
okay.
Yeah, you
We got
racist
goats
piece of
for that.
shit.
Yeah, goats.
Spain,
that note-
All right,
Turkey.
guys. On
I'm
that
definitely
note,
getting canceled after this podcast.
guys, really
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
fun.
This
Yeah, no,
was
thanks
a
for having
pleasure
us.
and honor for me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thanks for having
And
us,
then when
guys.
we get the big Richard up and running, we'd love to have you guys on.
Hell
if,
yeah.
if the Istanbul dates work out, that's happening because we're going there to shoot an episode.
Yeah, we'll
Let me
figure it
tell you
out.
something. As soon as we're done with this,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about something else.
Okay.
It's gonna be
Alright.
good.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Well, hold up. I feel like we talked about stuff like that, but we got to also invite you guys to come down to our studio and we're do some shooting.
Done.
Fine.
Sold.
Do some stuff.
Where's your
yeah,
studio based
So we're in Charlotte.
Okay.
Right
Yeah,
there.
it's not far.
Bro,
South
hop, skip, and
Carolina.
jump.
Dude, I'm always up there.
All right.
Okay, done.
Make it
Thanks,
happen.
boys.
All
Make
right.
it happen,
Thanks,
brother.
guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
James.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
guys.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you.